Hello, Vin Panacea. How you doing? And anyone else who might be here. What's going on? I just gotta tweet this and then we can start the stream. I also gotta pull up the dashboard on my phone. View dashboard, chat. Bonjour. Bonjour right back at ya. My butchering of the French language is probably making Baja Blast cringe. Hope everyone's doing well today. I just got done getting out of the shower after exercising. Hello, Dragon Mike 1973. How you doing? Oh, I'm glad I don't have to strap pounds and pounds of tinfoil onto myself today. I'm being hyperbolic, but goddamn, that tinfoil warmed me the fuck up yesterday. Let me just put this in Discord and then I am good. Hello, Drake Wig, Bailey Quinn, The Life of Mal, Cryptic Gabriel, MW1642. Welcome to the stream. I'd like to stop doing streams right after showering so my hair isn't soaking wet every time. That'd be nice. All my streams are just also hair drying streams, if such a thing existed. Hello, daughter of Tiamat, Katrina Hood. If we are here, OCP. Thanks, love the hair. Yeah, it's very moist. Legio 13. Yes, we're looking at Infinity Twitch right now. Yes, look like the girl from The Ring. I also live in TVs and will kill you for reasons. I haven't seen The Ring. The Vosh debate was so bad. I didn't see the Vosh debate. And I can't watch it on Twitch because he is banned from Twitch. So what do you guys think? We got, of course, John Doyle, the guy who likes to say, heck off, commie. We got Elliot Hustle, who believes that sucking on titties is gay. We got Strong Successful Male for all your MGTOW needs. We got Jilly Juice, because Jillian has changed the recipe for Jilly Juice, and that's very exciting.
I remember
Girl Defined for all your Christian relationship hot takes.
The religion
Spirit
of the
Science for when you want to know the experience of taking too much ayahuasca, and Sargon of Akkad for when you want to hate the universe. Thank you to Flork the Destroyer for following. John Doyle. Yeah, they changed the recipe to Jilly Juice very slightly. Thank you to Jeffrey Patron for hosting. Much appreciated. Fellas, is it gay to suck a titty? Yeah.
That's right, capitalistic propaganda.
I think we know that's the case. Oh, holy shit. Sing You to Death. Thank you for gifting 5 Tier 1 subs. Damn. Already. That's amazing. We're only 4 minutes into the stream. Very cool. Much appreciated. I'm glad I picked that Elon dancing gif as the subscription thing. Oh, Jeffrey Patron gifting 5 subs. Holy shit.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
God damn, you guys. You guys are coming out of the gate with this shit today. Thank you very much. Jeffrey Patron, do we need to start battling? Says Sing You to Death. Oh my god. Big Booty 2012 with 10 Tier 1 subs. Oh god, I'm gonna have to wear hats throughout this whole stream. For those of you who don't know, I put on every tier of the hype train we get to. I put on another hat. Are we already at the level 5 hype train? Holy fucking shit. I gotta go get some hats. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. You have no idea. It means a lot to me that you support the stream like this. Oh my god, if we were here gifting 10 tier 1 subs, god damn. Woo! I gotta get lots of hats. How many hats do I need? Hold on, I gotta look at the
nothing
height.
funny about the
Level
tools of
5
capitalism.
complete. So that's 5 hats. And then every 100% beyond that, oh god, we're 240%. So 6 hats. Holy shit. God damn.
There's nothing funny about the tools
Oh
of
god,
capitalism.
Allison M. Ray. Hats, 100 bits. Invader Diz with a bunch of bits. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna go get some hats. I'll be right back. Don't do too much while I'm
There's
gone
nothing
so I
funny
don't
about
have to
the
get
tools
more
of
hats, god
capitalism.
damn it. Thank you.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Oof. Let's see. First hat, Los Pollos
There's nothing funny
Hermanos
about
hat
the tools of
from Breaking
capitalism.
Bad. Ooh, I'm gonna dry my hair with hats on. I'm gonna have real bad hat head for the rest of the day. That's fine though. I'm gonna exercise tomorrow anyway. Sonic hat. NES
nothing
hat on
funny
top
about
of the
the tools
Sonic
of
hat because
capitalism.
Nintendo is better than Sega. Suck it, 90s kids. And a Marvel hat. And then Stardust Romance
nothing
with
funny
one
about the
400
tools of
bits and
capitalism.
MW1642 with 300 bits. We have a Captain America hat on top of the Marvel hat. And then my wonderful Back to the Future 2
There's nothing
future
funny about the
gay
tools of
rainbow hat
capitalism.
on top of that one. There we go. Harold Penisman with a bunch of little bitties. Thanks very much. 269% of the hype train. Fuck. Wholesome hat posting.
nothing funny about
Hopefully,
the tools
I
of
was able, by the way. Oh, I'll answer your question in a second. I'm not going talks. I just want to talk about this for a second. Oh shit, what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought now.
There's nothing funny about the
Fuck.
tools of capitalism.
Well, shit, I guess I'll answer your question now since I lost my train of thought and totally forgot. MW1642 with 200 more bits. Harold Penisman with
nothing
100
funny
more
about the
bits.
tools of
Invader Diz.
capitalism.
Man, y'all really making my bits feel inconsequential with a bunch of little bitties. I'm not going talks, ask Hey Hannah Reloaded. I have a really serious question. Do I think the capitalist model will full-on collapse? I
There's nothing
hope it
funny about
doesn't.
the
What I
tools of
hope happens
capitalism.
is that there's a gradual shift to a more egalitarian model where we have things like worker co-ops, and I'd like it not
There's
to
nothing funny
force
about the
like
tools of
a
capitalism.
huge upheaval, because that's, even though sometimes it's necessary in society, it's usually not great for people living within it. So it'd be nice if we could gradually, via democracy,
There's nothing funny
change
about the
to a
tools of
system
capitalism.
that's more beneficial to all of us. But who knows? While we're at 293% of the hype train, almost all the way to another hat. God damn.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Thank you, Super Dupe Me J, for following. I think I missed you. Sorry about that.
That's right, capitalistic propaganda.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. 293% of the hype train.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Opportuni with 70 bits. Oh shit, hype. Nice. Happy Pride Month, everyone, by the way. Woo, Dim302 with a bunch of biddies. And Drake
nothing
Wing
funny
with
about
2
the
bits.
tools of
Here's my
capitalism.
2 bits. Capitalism is dumb. Big Booty 2012 with 100 bits. We hit another thing. I gotta put another hat on. Hold on.
There's
Do I
nothing
do the
funny
tin?
about the
Should I do
tools
the
of
tin
capitalism.
foil on top of everything? I don't know if it'll even fit. There we go. Now I'm protected from the reptoids. Hooray. Oof.
There's nothing
What a
funny
hype
about
train,
the tools
guys.
of
I think that's the
capitalism.
highest the hype train has ever gotten. Holy shit. Oh, Evotion! Guess who's getting married tomorrow, bitches? Is it you, Evotion? Congratulations. I hope you and your partner have a wonderful
There's
wedding
nothing
day.
funny about the tools of capitalism.
Apollo 8192. Did I see Trump violently cleaning peaceful protesters so he could get a photo op? Yeah, really fucked up. Real fucked up.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Thank you to Dragon Mike 1972 for donating $5 to the stream down in the Streamlabs link below the video. Longtime viewer, first time caller, Winky Face.
There's
Thanks
nothing
very much.
funny about the tools of capitalism.
Is there anything else that I missed? Bunch of excited people. thank you very much for coming to the stream. It's going to be a good stream today. I can feel it. Singing you to death, 100 bits. When you came out, I knew you wanted to work on becoming more top-heavy, but this really isn't what I had in mind. Funny. That's cute. OCP, your hair's never going to dry. It's going to dry, but it's going to dry with the worst hair in the history of hair. And on top of that, I'm going to have moldy, damp hats. Thanks, guys, though. Seriously. Skullbuggery subscribed at tier 1. Thank you very much. Evotion says, the answer is more hats. Dudes begging dudes. Hannah, I sent a bit. Look at the link. Hold on. What link? If there's a link, can you put it in the chat again? Oh, wait, is that it? There it is. I found it. Okay. Nintendo of America. Nintendo shares the pain felt in the United States after the tragic death of George Floyd, and we stand with the black community and all those who recognize our shared humanity and fundamental belief in justice and equality. We reject bias, exclusion, oppression, and violence that leads to these completely unnecessary deaths. We are committed to fostering equity, inclusion, and diversity in all the aspects of our business and the work we do. Fuck yeah, Mario says trans rights. And Black Lives Matter.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Thank you, Invader Diz, for 12 bits. I played tabletop with Sarah before. It was cool. Hashtag Nichols State University. Nice. Tabletop games are a lot of fun.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Okay, what I was gonna say before the hat bonanza happened. Donkey Kong says trans rights. Donkey Kong did say trans rights on H-Bomber Guy's charity stream, which was awesome. Thank you, Super Duper Mej, for following. What I was going to say is I reached the threshold a couple days ago to apply to be a Twitch partner, and I did apply, so if that goes through, I will do more emotes. Right now I only have 5 emote slots. And they're all full right now. So once I can, I'll add like hat emotes and tinfoil hat emotes for Tinfoil Tuesday and all sorts of other stuff. But right now, I just can't.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Whew. We're gonna have a backlog of noises going on the screen for a bit. So Holiday, perhaps for the sub symbols we could have different types of hats, like Jake has corn with different backgrounds. Tier 1 gets a regular hat, Tier 2 is tinfoil, Tier 3 is rainbow hat. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, that sounds good.
There's nothing funny
Crimson
about
11, no, I missed the hype train, big sad. Well, you're here now, and that's what matters. Thank you all for showing up. How many people are in the stream right now? God damn, over 100. Thank you very much, everyone.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Now, let us try and get to the content, the juicy, juicy content of Ocean Says. We like you, Hannah. Thank you. I like you guys, too.
There's nothing funny
I've really,
about
really
the tools
been
of
enjoying
capitalism.
hanging out with you guys every day. It's a lot of fun. They're good streams, Hannah. Thank you. I'm glad you guys like them, because to me, I'm surprised you guys like enjoy it as much as you do, because to me it's just like what I would normally do, bullshitting around on the internet, and instead my internal thoughts are external, and you guys apparently like it, so I really appreciate it. No content, Hannah,
There's
only
nothing
hype.
funny about the tools of capitalism.
Yeah. I'm not going talk says, same, streaming is my safe feel-good space. Oh, you stream too? I'm gonna have to, hold on, let me follow you on the...
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Oops.
There's nothing funny about
Oh,
the
did you
tools
mean
of
just watching
capitalism.
streams? Because I don't see any streams on your, like, channel. Gotcha. Oh, gotcha. Well, I'm glad you can find a place here and hang out with people and have fun. That's great.
nothing funny
Virginia's
about the
getting
tools
rid
of
of Robert E.
capitalism.
Lee statues. Good. All that shit needs to go. If you want to put it in a museum, great, that's fine. But that shit does not belong in the public square, like at all.
There's nothing funny about the tools
Solid
of
Snake
capitalism.
Raid and Geralt. Sorry, I haven't played the Witcher games. Geralt of Riviera also all canonically say trans rights. Fuck yeah.
There's nothing funny about the tools
How do
of
I feel about all these
capitalism.
companies coming out with BLM posts? Do you think it's helpful or an empty way to look good without actually doing anything? Honestly, I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a good
There's nothing
thing
funny
that
about the tools of
platforms that are held by people with a lot of followers are expressing these things. However, it's sad that the people with the platform to do these things are private corporations that are in it for money.
That's right,
But,
capitalistic
you know,
propaganda.
it is what it is. You work within the system you have, so I'd rather they be saying that than being silent. It's good background noise for when I play Red Dead Online, also getting me hyped for trying to start streaming again, says Invader Diz. Oh,
There's
I play
nothing
Red Dead
funny about
Online
the tools
too.
of capitalism.
I really like that game. I also like Grand Theft Auto Online. Maybe I'll have to play them on stream sometime, and maybe hang out with some of you guys if you play, but I play on PlayStation, not PC. But I can stream from my
There's nothing
PlayStation,
funny
and I
about
have
the
a
tools of
mic for
capitalism.
it. Sing you to death with 100 bits. Hannah is a lovely dream, the bestest thing we've ever seen. That's why Hufflepuffs all scream, Hannah is our queen. Wonderful. Yes, thank you. I'm actually watching the Harry Potter movies right now, because HBO has a new, like, streaming service, and they have all the Harry Potter movies on there. Did I see the Bank of America is donating like $1 billion or some shit like that? Yeah, that's good. That's good. Lego donated $4 million. I think PlayStation, Sony also donated some stuff. I don't remember. A lot of companies are donating to like Black Lives Matter or various civil rights groups around the country. Crimson 11, I wish I could join one of the protests, but I don't think there's one I can get to. I don't have a car. Just sitting at home makes me more antsy. Yeah, I feel you there. My car has been busted for a month and a half or so. Hopefully, with like the the subscription money I get when you guys do the hype trains and stuff, I'll be able to get it fixed soon, because I would like to be able to leave my house at some point.
There's nothing funny about
Invader
the tools
Diz,
of
I also play on
capitalism.
PS4. Join the Buy Brigade. Yeah, sure. If you whisper me, I'll give you my gamer tag, Invader Diz, and we can play sometime. I'm not going. Talk says I would fix Hannah's car. Yeah, I think it's like this starter motor or something. I don't know. I gotta get it towed to a shop and looked at. All right. Let's get into the capital C content. John Doyle. What's John Doyle been up to lately other than telling commies to heck off? Let's find out, shall we? Open carry a Glock in Whole Foods. I mean, there are people who open carry all the time. You're gonna look like a weird dick who, like, feels the need to have a gun brandished at all times. Yes, I know that's not the legal definition of brandish, but the fact that you need to be like, look, I have a gun, yeah, it makes you look like a dick.
There's nothing
Democrat
funny about the tools
kids
of
tell why their
capitalism.
parents have a right to kill them. Oh, God. Can we not ask children? I assume that's a video on abortion. Can we not have kids talk about abortion? I've heard adults who don't have the common sense to, like, think and talk about abortion, much less fucking children. Sing you to death with 100 bits. Hannah, Alex is commissioning furry art of me. Can I be honorary LGBT now? The answer is no. I just wanted to give you more money. Love you. Nice. Hello, sir. Some people feel uncomfortable that you're eating spaghetti while having your shotgun by your side. Well, me and Betty can eat wherever I want. Nice. Dragon Mike 1973, can we just not ask children questions that are way out of their league? Yeah, it's stupid, and it's using them as political props. No matter who's doing it. It's stupid. Trump protester gets emotional when asked simple questions. Why Nazism is leftist? Oh god, I do not want to watch that one. 5 misconceptions about sex and gender? Yikers. Okay, let's debunk
There's
his
nothing
stupid
funny about the
debunk, I
tools of
guess.
capitalism.
Oh god. This is gonna be bad. Harold Penisman with 100 bits. Pride flag. Thank you very much. Happy Pride Month again, everyone. Andrew Dickerson says, if the riots were still happening near me, I would have wanted to employ my woodworking skills to build some shields for the protesters. Yeah. You have hats already, Hannah? Yeah, I have like 6 hats. We got to like the 6th level of hype train in like the first 5 minutes. It was fucking crazy. So anyway. Apollo 8192. I'm sorry, Hannah. What was that? You don't want to watch something? I demand we watch that one. God damn it. Which one was it? Let me look. Hold on. Oh, why Nazism is left? Fuck it. We'll watch this, and I really don't want to. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Nazis stands for National Socialists. Now, the National Socialist movement in Germany, because there were a lot of socialist movements in Europe around the turn of the century, not even the turn of the century, later, mid-century, early mid-century, let's call it. Sing You to Death says, the way that I determine my politics is asking 4-year-olds if they understand it, and if they don't, then it's not real. Conservatives trying their best. That's funny. So, socialist movements were going through Europe, and obviously Russia in the case of, like, communism taking over there. But the National Socialist movement got taken over by right-wing fascists. And in what was called the Night of Long Knives, Hitler and the rest of the fascists in the party killed all the socialists in their party so they could call themselves National Socialists while pushing fascist corporatist policies. Okay? So, National Socialist Nazis were socialists in the same way that the People's Republic of North Korea is a People's Republic in name only. Okay? So he's gonna do some dumb shit, and let's take a look.
The argument is basically that Hitler was a far-right radical, and therefore when we proceed to label someone as far-right, we think, oh wait, Hitler was far-right.
He was, though. There are people on the left you can argue with, and also using a two-dimensional, like, left-right isn't exactly right. Even the chart where it's the political alignment chart where you have, like, authoritarian versus libertarian, even that's not fully in-depth into how people look at things, but it's better than just saying far-right and far-left. Hitler wasn't just far-right, he was a far-right authoritarian.
Therefore, far-right equals bad. Here's the kicker. Hitler and the Nazis were leftists, and everyone that...
Which is hilarious to me, because he also does the same thing with the left. He says, oh, Stalin was a leftist, even though he really wasn't. He was more of an authoritarian, although I guess he was an authoritarian leftist. I think he didn't really care very much about the actual leftist policies as much as he cared about being in power. But that's an issue with people in power in any position with any beliefs. Anyway, my point is he does the same thing to, like, Stalin, which is why he has the whole heck off commie bullshit going on.
Thinks otherwise has a far greater understanding of Occupy Democrats memes than they do Nazism. I wanted to make another this type video this week, so I tweeted out some options for topics for you guys to vote on. This one in particular got the most votes, so if you're not...
Darth Hayes, too. Hitler only promoted socialism in the 20s to get into power. Once he got into power in 33, he allied himself with capitalists and took out other left-wing parties like KDP and SDP. Yeah, this is actually one of the... I forget who actually wrote, like, the signs of fascism. One of them is, like, the government cozying up to capitalism and using them as... How do I put this? Not allies, as... what's the word I'm trying to think of? They work towards similar goals because as long as the capitalists who are allied with the political party in power, in this case the Nazis, are given as much freedom as they want to exploit their workers and exploit their customers, then they're okay with fascist policy, as long as it doesn't affect rich people, more or less.
Not following me on Twitter already, you should do so. I'm pretty funny.
Am I sweating? No, I'm dripping because I got out of the shower right before the stream.
On occasion. I'm still trying to figure out this segment. I used to stand in front of the bookshelf and I would talk, but it's a hassle to move and then play the intro, but it's a hassle to move all the audio equipment back and forth. And the audio is never as good, so I don't know, but we're talking, right? I'm leaned back. I got two buttons undone. The laptop's closed.
If Nazism is leftist and communism is leftist, what's rightist? Anything that they think is good is on the right. Because obviously nothing on the right can be bad. Again, I find this so fucking ridiculous. Because as a leftist, I can openly say, tankies are fucking stupid. I'm okay with criticizing people on the left who go about things in bad ways. people on the right refuse to own shit that happens from people on their side, even if it's people who do things differently than them. For instance, John Doyle may not be a Nazi. I don't know enough about him to say that. But he should be able to say Nazi Germany was a fascist right-wing movement that wanted society to have a very clear hierarchy, which is a right-leaning sentiment. You know, I don't know. It's just hypocritical.
So, anyways, with this argument in particular, one of the issues that we have is we often make weak arguments. We cut corners intellectually. We'll say stuff like, well, if they weren't socialists, why did they call themselves National Socialists? Checkmate, liberal. But it's like, then the typical response would be, are you familiar with the Democratic People's Republic of North Korea? So the name in itself isn't a strong enough argument. The best argument...
Oh, good. He actually said it. Good job, John Doyle. You get 1 point, which leaves you at negative 3,072 points.
Argument can be derived from the historical evidence that we have that describes exactly what Nazism was. So
he's going to quote a lot of things from the 20s, I guarantee it.
First, let's talk about why people think that Hitler and the Nazis were far right. So in the early 20th century, as socialism became more popular, Nazism is said to have been a reactionary movement of people that were against the doctrines of socialism and in favor of capitalism and of free markets. They cite that the Nazi Party received support from many industrialists in the early 1930s, therefore, it must be a free market system of beliefs. This ignores the fact that the Nazis were openly waging a cultural war on the communists, that the industrialists also hated because if the communists gained legitimate traction, the industrialists would be tremendously hurt by this. The enemy of my enemy is my friend type of thing. So they also note that the Nazi Party's economic policy...
Yeah. The enemy of my enemy is your friend, but they're not enemies of your enemies for no reason. It's because your goals are similar.
Policies in practice were different than Russian socialism, since the means of production, entrepreneurship, and market exchange were under private ownership. The problem is, this is only a superficial system of private ownerships because through their system of economic intervention and control, the entrepreneurial function of the property owners was, it was completely controlled by the state.
Yeah, but they were still capitalists. They just had to do what the state said in order to continue to go about their business unabated, because they're fascists and they want control over the businesses within their state.
As a result, shop owners, they didn't have to speculate about the future for the purpose of allocating resources in the pursuit of profits. Exactly like in the Soviet Union, entrepreneurial speculation, resource allocation, it's done by a single entity, which is the state. The property owner...
Yeah, that doesn't necessarily make them not right-wing fascists. You get that, right?
Owners were called shop managers, or the German word.
I know it's Halloween, but we should invade Poland tomorrow.
And the government tells these seeming entrepreneurs what to produce, how much of it to produce, at what prices and from whom to buy, and at what prices and to whom to sell. The government decrees at what wages laborers should work, and to whom and under what terms the capitalists should entrust their funds. Market exchange is just a sham. All prices, wages, and interest rates are fixed by the authority. They're prices, wages, and interest rates in appearance only. They're merely quantitative terms in the authoritarian orders determining each citizen's income, consumption, and standard of living. The authority, not the consumers, directs production. The Central Board of Production Management is supreme. All citizens are nothing else but civil servants. This is the socialism with the outward appearance of capitalism.
No, it's fascism. Fascism involves taking the power and vesting it in the state. Communism involves vesting it in the workers. There's a difference. Now, I would argue that even Stalinist Russia didn't do this well because they vested the power within the state and said it was through the workers. But you can't have something considered communist. You can't have communist socialism, as you want to call it, whatever the fuck, because words have no meaning, vested particularly in the state that determines what they do with it as opposed to the workers. That's not socialism.
Labels of the capitalistic market economy are retained, but they signify here something entirely different from what they mean in a market economy. Sometimes they even refer to the Nazis as state capitalists, which I really just think is a way to be sneaky while still labeling them as capitalists. And the Nazis...
No, there's a difference between communism and state capitalism.
...weren't trying to hide...
Here we go. State capitalism versus socialism.
About the tools of capitalism.
Arenas 3 with 100 bits. Have I seen the Jangles video about Doyle? He's a complete fraud. No, I haven't. State capitalism is an economic system in which the state undertakes commercial, i.e., for-profit economic activity, and where the means of production are organized and managed as state-owned business enterprises, including the process of capital accumulation, wage labor, centralized government, or where there is otherwise dominance of corporatized government agencies, or of publicly listed corporations in which the state has controlling shares. Marxist literature defines state capitalism as a social system combining capitalism with the ownership or control by a state. By this definition, a strong capitalist country is one where the government controls the economy and essentially acts like a singular huge corporation, enacting the surplus value from the workers in order to invest it in further production. This designation applies regardless of the political aims of the state, even if it's normally socialist. Hold on. Many scholars argue that the Soviet Union and the countries modeled after it, including Maoist China, were state capitalist systems, which is why you'll often hear that China, as we understand it today, is more state capitalist than communist. Many scholars also argue the current People's Republic of China constitutes a form of state capitalism. As a term, state capitalism is also used by some in reference to a private capitalist economy controlled by the state that is private. Blah, 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 blah. Do we have examples? Now let's take a look at socialism. Socialism is a political, social, and economic philosophy encompassing a range of economic and social systems characterized by social ownership, meaning the people who own the corporations is not the state, but it's actually vested in private individuals, the workers. Workers collectively own businesses as opposed to it being vested in the state, and then the workers working for the state. Understand? Like a worker co-op versus going in and working in a sweatshop where the government owns it. Of means of production, the workers' self-management of enterprises. So again, the workers self-manage, and ideally you have something like a democratic workplace where you can vote on policies as opposed to it being what it is now in private corporations, which is basically a corporate dictatorship where your boss tells you exactly what to do, and you do it or you get fired. Teacher, can I go to the bathroom? Yes, you may go to the bathroom. I love how easily these people conflate authoritarianism and communism while engaging in clear authoritarianism to impose their own ideas. Yeah. And then there's also non-market and market socialism, but that's a story for another day.
This at all, which is why it's so funny. The leftist historians maintain that the Nazis were actually right-wing, but Joseph...
Because they were.
Stalin actually helped fuel this narrative too. My boy Ioseb, how do you pronounce that? But when the Nazis invaded the USSR, Stalin tried to redefine National Socialism as capitalism, and he promoted the idea that they were in the final stages of capitalism, and National Socialism was never Marxism, but it was influenced by the same German socialists that influenced Karl Marx.
Yeah, but it's not the same system. Like, for instance, me and a bonobo have common ancestors. We're not both the same animal. The same thing with the system of government put in place and the economic system put in place in Germany versus that in Russia or the USSR during the time.
But since they didn't fit into the traditional Soviet Marxist worldview, they were referred to as capitalists, despite Nazis' consistent...
Did I know that Helen Keller was a socialist, and yet that's the thing that's best known about her was that she was blind deaf? I wonder why that is. Yeah, I did know that.
...implementing socialist policies, and doing so quite proudly. The Nazis were fascists, so...
They were, and fascism is a right-wing movement, whether you like that or not. Again, I'm not telling you every single right-wing person is a fascist, but fascism is a right-wing movement. That's how it is. That's how we define the different spectrums as we understand it post-20th century. That's how we understand it. Fascism is right-wing. For instance, I would argue this is why political compasses aren't even an exact science way of trying to pinpoint someone's beliefs, because Stalin was very fashy in the way that he went about controlling the country, but he was also part of a country that was state capitalist socialist because the workers didn't collectively own it, the government owned it, and then they worked for the government. But my point is, fascism is right-wing. The Nazis were fascists. They're like the fascists. If you look up fascists in the dictionary, that's what they're gonna be. Pictures of fucking Nazis goose-stepping with each other. You don't have to agree with them, John, but you do have to accept that they're right. It's fine.
What is fascism? A lot of people, when they think about the political spectrum, they think communism is the extreme left and fascism is the extreme right. And that's not true. It's so far from true. You'll see how ridiculous it is in a second when we break it down. So fascism, by definition, is a political philosophy that exalts nation above individual, stands for a centralized autocratic government, severe economic and social regulation.
It stands for, again, it does stand for somewhat collectivist thinking in that you are not as important as the state. You are a cog in the machine of the state, and you work for the glory of it. That is a right-wing movement. It is. It's what it is. A left-wing movement, an actual socialist movement, would be the state is a body that helps regulate the laws to help facilitate worker co-ops, worker-owned businesses. That's what that is. It's different. Fascism is right-wing.
And suppression of any dissent.
I'm not articulating myself very well today. I apologize, guys.
Nazism added anti-Semitism and eugenics into this as well, which is what is often thought to be the key difference between Nazism and fascism. The Nazis were strongly against liberal democracy. What is liberal democracy? America, basically, in practice. Liberal democracy, which is also called Western democracy, is a representative, classically liberal government characterized by things like elections between multiple political parties, a separation of powers into different branches of government, market economies and private property rights, equal protections of people under the law, stuff like that. So you've got the Nazis. They're openly against free markets, democracy, limited government, free speech, individual rights.
Yeah, they're fascist, which is a right-wing movement. Do I need to look this up and show you, Johnny? Fascism. Fascism. Oh, look at what the picture is on the fascist page. Anyway, fascism is a form of far-right, authoritarian ultranationalism. Now, who do we know in America who's ultranationalist, authoritarian, and far-right? Characterized by dictatorial power, forcible suppression of opposition. Where today, if you look out your window or at Twitter for more than 5 seconds, can you see forcible suppression of opposition, even peaceful opposition? Nope, not ringing a bell. Weird. As well as strong regimentation of society and economy, which came to prominence in the early 20th century Europe. The first fascist movements emerged in Italy during World War I, before spreading to other European countries, opposed to liberalism, Marxism, and anarchism. Fascism is placed on the far right within traditional left-right spectrum. There we go.
I'm going to slow down. But they're also far right. And if you look at the political spectrum that they pass around, it's actually mind-bogglingly stupid. It's like a form of miracle. So
let's take a look. So we have a moderate who just wants to grill, of course. Then we have liberals. Then we have socialists and communism. This would be considered sort of the leftist side of the equation. And then on the right, you have conservatism. To the right of that is a libertarianism. That's questionable. Again, this is why a two-dimensional, just left or right measure of different political beliefs is always going to be inherently flawed. It's like trying to make a flat map of the globe. You can kind of get like, okay, this kind of represents where stuff is, but it's always going to inherently be a bit wrong because it's not an actual projection of reality. So I think libertarianism is more found on the, again, if you look at a political compass, southern side. You can be, I don't even know how you'd be a fascist libertarian. That's sort of an oxymoron. I would almost put libertarianism further to the left than conservatism. Because when I think about conservatism, I think about authoritarianism and enforcing laws on people that are overbearing, like stuff like stop and frisk. That more falls closer to fascism than someone who just wants to smoke weed or whatever. Yeah, it's a shit fucking compass.
So you take a look at it, you've got conservatism and liberalism, and then you've got farther left, you've got socialism and communism. Okay, that makes sense, because when you go from liberalism to socialism to communism, you're adding more and more regulation and taking more and more freedom away.
Yikers. Again, this is why a political compass would be a more accurate way to look at this, and even that's not perfect, but that's why you would have communism more in the upper authoritarian probably sector, and you have something like socialism more towards the bottom, more libertarian, where you have workers owning personal property, owning the companies that they work for collectively, but it not being vested within the state itself, whereas communism involves the state owning the means of production and then all the workers working for the state. So it's different. It's not just one's more left than the other, it's one's more authoritarian and one's more libertarian. Same on the other side. Conservatism, I would argue, often is more authoritarian, and certainly more authoritarian than libertarianism. So, I don't know.
So it's consistent. There's a trend. There's a trend that follows as you travel farther to the left. But when you look at the right-hand side, you go from conservatism to libertarianism, which is a substantial decrease in regulation and a substantial increase in personal liberty. And then what this chart literally says is when you increase personal...
Are people having issues with the stream? Like, what's going on with it? Is it jerking around or what?
Freedom and decreased regulation, you end up with fascism, with a far-right ideology like fascism. How do you get further right adding freedom, shrinking government, and all of a sudden the state isn't...
John Doyle thinks that the further right you go, you shrink government and get more freedom? Yikers. That's directly opposed to what the truth is, though. The further right you go, you get more authoritarian and fascist. In the same way, on this, again, incredibly, it seems fine now. Okay, let me know if it keeps going. Maybe refresh your browsers, and then hopefully it'll get better. In the same way that on this, again, two-dimensional, highly inaccurate scale of different political beliefs, the further left you go, it seems like you get a little more authoritarian. On the further right you go, you get more authoritarian, which is why some people believe that horseshoe theory is a thing. If you don't know what horseshoe theory is, I don't entirely ascribe to this, but I understand what they're trying to illustrate when they say this. Effectively, they're saying that in the center, you're over here. The left and right, you're pretty far apart. But as you get to far left and far right, you start getting similar ways of enforcing the beliefs. On the far left, you have, like, Stalinist USSR, and on the far right, you have Nazi Germany, which both killed millions of people and were incredibly authoritarian. So...
control of everything. You lose your free speech. You lose your free markets. You lose your branches of government. Your democracy. It's all...
yeah, branches of government and freedom are not from the right. You understand that, right? Those are Enlightenment ideas, and in some ways classical ideas, okay? Democracy was not invented by Abraham Lincoln, you fucking idiot.
Gone. The trend as you head farther right is less regulation, and then it suggests that the extent of that, so few regulations, it's actually so extreme, it would be...
yeah, he's doing a total straw man. He easily could have gotten a political grid up that's a little more accurate, but he didn't even do that because he wants to make this dumb argument. He's arguing in complete bad faith right now.
Fascism, which demonstrates a shocking lack of knowledge in either chart making or fascism. Who's the most popular libertarian? We like Ron Paul. We've all gone through the Ron Paul phase. We've all got a copy of End the Fed. But the leftist academics are literally trying to tell you that the farther right you go, Ron Paul wants income tax abolished, Federal Reserve abolished, heroin legalized. If you get farther right...
yeah, he's not super right. He's super libertarian, which is why just acting like the universe and the political world is bipolar and that's all there is an incredibly reductionist worldview that's going to lead you to some very bad conclusions, which obviously it has, Johnny.
Right than Ron Paul. You all of a sudden sacrifice every principle that this country was founded upon, every principle that the right wing in this country is trying so hard to preserve.
Yes, as we all know, the founding fathers who literally helped organize protests in which they destroyed the property of large companies, the East India Trading Company and their tea. Yep, right wing as fuck. Not at all left. By the way, who's criticizing Black Lives Matter for going out and doing the same right now? Is it people on the left or is it people on the right? I forget.
And then you become a fascist. The reality is that if you were to place fascism on the political spectrum where it actually belongs, it would be on the left.
No, it wouldn't. Why would it be that? The right wing doesn't just mean small government. The right doesn't like small government. They like not paying taxes, but they love big military spending. They love spending on things that they like. They love corporate bailouts. They just don't like things that help individuals within the country.
That's the reality. No one with even an elementary understanding of political thought would argue that adding authoritarian control over the economy is a right-wing principle. It's just absurd. So what is right-wing? What does right-wing mean?
Here's where he's gonna suck the dick of, like, Abraham Lincoln. He's gonna be like, the right just loves freedom and to wear our flags and to listen to country music. We just want us all to get along, guys.
What are we saying when we describe something as right-wing? What do you mean by far right? What principles of right...
Ooh, Xandris thinks I'm... Does he think I'm wrong, or do you think John Doyle's wrong, Xandris?
...wing thought are taken to the extreme under this ideology. As you go farther left, you add more government control over the economy until you've reached your utopia where, oh, don't worry, everyone will do their part because everyone cares about each other. We can all make nice.
Are those statements accurate? What exactly is it like to live under a totalitarian regime? Throughout history, we have seen the brutality that results from complete power being given to the state.
He's got to get the serious voice on while I'm going to play B-roll of authoritarian states. Clearly, this is what the left wants.
System. You can do that if you want. You can set up a living society like that. There's literally nothing stopping you. Under an authoritarian leftist state, you don't have a choice. You cannot opt out.
Don't we just all agree authoritarianism is bad? I think everyone nowadays pretty much gets that. The 20th century kind of proved that authoritarianism is bad. I thought we were all on the same page post-World War II. I guess not, though.
Out of the utopia. If you attempt to do so, you will die. And they spread the myth that conservatives are racist, and since Nazis are racist too, it adds up. Like, okay, so let's...
What political party do you think the KKK mostly belongs to, John? Do you think they're voting for Hillary Clinton, or do you think they voted for Donald Trump? Because the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan endorsed Donald Trump, not Hillary Clinton. So, how does that jive with your whole people on the right aren't racist thing? Now, I'm not saying everyone on the right's racist, but I am saying all racists are on the right.
Let's just assume for the sake of argument all conservatives are racist. We're all white supremacists.
Straw man, I didn't say that.
If we are conservatives, if we embrace the principles of limited government, of individual rights, of free market economies, the extent of our racism is that we don't want you to live near us and we don't want you in our stores. Is that bad? Sure. I mean, yeah, it's not really nice. It's not polite. But to compare that to the levels of anti-Semitism that the Nazis displayed as somehow a symptom of the same bigotry is just astoundingly stupid. In a Western democracy, you have the right to be personally bigoted. Under Nazism, the government kills you. Do you see the difference?
Wait, what? So, your argument is, we're not killing people yet, so we're not bad. You just have the right to be bigoted. You do have the right to be bigoted. But you also have the right to be told to fuck off, and that your racism is shitty. Okay? The bar is not killing people, you fuck.
In America, everyone is equal under the law. You can get into the arguments, of course, about systematic racism and oppression. There's no legitimate evidence to support.
Darth Hayes 2. Here's something Doyle doesn't take into account about Nazis. The Nazis promoted traditionalism, something that's aligned with conservatives. They hated progressivism and modernism. That goes against left-wing beliefs, which tend to be more progressive. True. Even within the... I did for my AP World History final, we had to do a video project, and the video project was make a propaganda video from the perspective of whatever thing you're assigned. We got assigned Nazi Germany, so I had to make a propaganda video from the perspective of Nazi Germany. You may have seen it on the YouTube channel at some point. It's aged very badly. It also wasn't made for public consumption. It was made for school. But within that, in the research, Nazi Germany very much pushed for women back in the households. The state of Germany prior to World War II was relatively progressive, actually, for the time. Again, there were people who were openly gay, there were people who were being studied who were openly trans, women were to some extent in the workforce. Then Nazism came around and undid all of that, because they pushed for this traditionalist, we need to get back to, how do I put this? Make Germany great again was the kind of thing that Hitler pushed. And that is a right-wing sentiment. The idea that things were good in the past and we need to get back to that. That's the thing that's conservative about the Nazis. Also the racism, but that's a story for another day. It's not fascism until people are thrown into gas chambers, apparently. Ooh, I got a lot of highlighted messages. Holy shit. But Hannah, the KKK were once Democrats. Clearly, they're still Democrats. Yeah, that's the worst argument. I hate that shit when people completely disregard the fact that the political parties and their positions have completely changed over the last century and a half. Darth Hayes 2. Here's something Doyle doesn't take into account about the Nazis. The Nazis... Oh, no, I already read that one. It's not fascist. Read that one. Everyone is equal under the law in America. Bah ha 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 ha. Oh, wait, he's serious. Anita Wu. Did he just say we aren't Nazis because we only don't want blacks in the same shops as us? It's not like we're gassing and killing them en masse, basically. Wasn't there also a shit ton of LGBT research that was destroyed by the Nazis? Yep. I'm not going tox. The KKK voted for Obama. Uh-huh. Let's take a look. What's the word I'm thinking of? Fuck. Oh, it was a joke? Yeah, gotcha. I assumed, but still, it's always good to address these things just in case.
Those arguments, but you can get into them. Under Nazism, you don't have rights, you aren't treated as individuals under the law, and you couldn't get into those arguments about whether or not the state is fair, because if you did, they'd punish you, probably by killing you. The idea that it's somehow an extreme manifestation of far-right beliefs is just nonsense. If you align it on the political spectrum with where it actually is, it's not on.
What he's described... I gotta get a bigger picture than that. Let's say. That's big enough. What he's describing is libertarian right-wing down here in the purple. What Hitler was up here in the blue, authoritarian right-wing. Hello. Oh, cute shirt. Is that my shirt too? Yeah. God damn. I buy a lot of cute shirts.
You do.
Kiki. Welcome to the party, Kiki.
She determined that she wanted to be around human beings since we haven't been out there because I was taking a shower. So she
On the right. It's on the left. All the government control manifests on the left, and now all of a sudden there's this one section.
No, it doesn't. Again, that's why the political compass has more than just left or right, because the politics of the real world are not bimodal.
Hello, Chet.
You like my hats?
It's a lot.
of the right that breaks the linear pattern and just happens to be authoritarian? No! This isn't hidden at all. The Nazis weren't ashamed of this. It's in their platform. If you read the Nazi Party platform, it doesn't sound like what conservatives are advocating for, but it sounds a lot more like what the left is advocating for. Like,
He just needs
Yes, the left is advocating for the end of ethnic controls of banks by specific ethnic groups. What?
he just needs a blonde wig and some blue contacts.
Yeah, yeah. How old is this guy? Like 19 fucking years
I
old?
genuinely have no
This
idea.
poor guy. Yeah, it's right-wing government that's sending troops into America right now, not the left. No kidding.
likely because they share the same side of the political spectrum. I can't. Are you really accusing the left of being Nazis? Like, the whole point of this is a defense from the accusations that the left throws at the right for being.
I'm not telling you everyone on the right is a Nazi. You're completely conflating two different points. Saying the Nazis were right-wing is different than saying all right-wingers are Nazis. You get that, right? Again, it comes off as an incredibly bad faith argument from you.
Nazis, except this one is actually rooted in historical fact. I mean, this is all publicly available.
Except literally no political analyst would agree with you. Nobody who actually studies history would fucking agree with you. You're just wrong. It's fine. Like I said earlier, I completely own the fact that, like, the USSR initially began as a leftist idea. It's just that it went super authoritarian and tanky and awful. Why can't you do the same and say, yeah, the Nazis were right-wing, but I'm on the right and don't agree with that? It's pretty simple.
Information. They call for the abolition of unearned income, the nationalization of industry, division of profits, welfare expansion, centralized education, and a duty of the individuals to the state, and a duty of the state to provide for the people. The points in the platform that the liberals will cite as evidence that, oh, well, Nazis are right-wing would be things like, you have to be a
The Kekistani flag is based on that version of the Nazi flag, by the way. So,
German citizen to live in Germany, and that they wanted to prevent the immigration of non-citizens. The difference here would be that the Nazis only wanted people that were ethnically German to live in Germany, and conservatives just want people to come in legally. So we know.
No, that's absolutely not true. That's a fucking dog whistle a ton of people on the right will use. We just want to bring people in legally. Oh, so are you going to expand the number of people and expedite the process to allowing people in? No, actually, we're going to make it a lot more difficult for them to get in legally. So clearly, no, you just don't want people coming in that aren't ethnically American, which you would consider anyone who's not white. Fucking idiot.
Know who they are. Same thing with the other one. Germany wanted to stop the immigration of non-citizens, so do conservatives, but only because conservatives want them to do so legally so that they can actually become citizens. And liberals share.
Then make the path to citizenship easier, not more difficult. It's so fucking transparent.
These views on immigration within my lifetime. It seems that they've only begun to oppose them when Trump began to advocate for them. You have the stereotype of the conservative racist, which in theory makes sense to some degree, because if I'm racist and I believe that my race is superior to other races, I would advocate for a system that allows for natural hierarchies to form so that my race can assert itself as dominant. But if
Yeah, which is pretty much a description of the right wing in this country. They're a big fan of hierarchies.
I'm a conservative and I believe in those systems, it's likely because I believe in personal freedom and liberty and not the class warfare and identity politics.
If you were really, really self-destructive and wanted to do a drinking game, every time someone like this uses the term liberty or freedom, take a shot.
To the left, I don't see myself as a heterosexual white Christian male. I see myself as a person. So I'm not too concerned with group identity at all. So it's tricky, but I mean,
which is why you have white Jesus over here, clearly.
You've got studies from Yale that show liberals are more racist than conservatives. You've got studies that show liberals lower the complexity of their speech when they talk to black people.
And if you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
Yeah, she's pointing out the fact that he's hypocritical because I guarantee he does have Hispanic cleaning people. Also, if you get any political opinion from The View, you're gonna have a bad fucking time.
Racist white liberal exists too, and it's arguably
kitty.
more accurate.
The kitty keeps hitting the pause button on the video. Am I trying to kill you? Nah, just get you trashed.
I mean, yesterday we found out that Democrat delegate in Maryland referred to her district as the N-word district. And it's funny because if it were a Republican, the headlines would have all been, Republican calls black voters N-word, but they didn't want people to know that she was a Democrat. So they just wrote, Maryland delegate, blah, blah. And I'm sure you can find examples of this from people on the right. I don't think
That's gonna be...
that racism is exclusively found in one party. I think a lot of it is generational. Also, I think it isn't just white people. Black people are actually the most racist demographic in America by their...
Oh my god. Black people are the most racist demographic. Quote from John Doyle, 2020. What the fuck, dude? Invader Diz, this dude is parroting a lot of the shit that I used to think. What's going on here is that he's thinking on a checkerboard instead of a chessboard. Does that make sense? He seems incredibly young and only has the most basic understanding of left and right. The good news is that we can learn, we can change. Hope he does, doubt he will. Yeah, I doubt he's gonna either. He has financial incentive at this point to not change, so I doubt it. He's only going further down the rabbit hole. I give it another 5 years before he's hanging out with Nick Fuentes and his cat girl boyfriend.
5 years?
Yeah.
It's less than 5 years away.
Their own admission, there's a 2013 study from Rasmussen that showed that, and they were actually one of the most accurate pollsters in 2016 as well, when everyone, oh, we just got the numbers wrong, we just didn't expect this, where they...
Yeah, that's how polling works. It gives you a percentage. Basically, Trump had like a 30% chance of winning, and he did. They never said he had a 0% chance. Do you understand how polling works, John? It's not predictive in the sense that it's a fortune teller. It's statistical.
They lying? Or were they just wrong? I don't know. But anyways, the reality is that fascism and Nazism, both in theory and in practice, do not align with the right. They aren't right-wing ideologies.
They are, though. You can say it's not as much as you want. That's fine. You're allowed to be wrong. This is America, after all. You're allowed to be very, very wrong.
Certainly aren't far right. If anything, they're leftist
being wrong is a right-wing ideology.
Ideologies. The whole idea of the political spectrum, it's very complex and it's hard to distinguish and compare ideologies based on economic...
Nick Fuentes is gay. He went on a date with a cat boy. So, probably.
Freedom.
Which would be fine. It just makes him hypocritical because he's also a Nazi. Like a literal Holocaust-denying Nazi.
And personal freedom, but authoritarian leftism is Nazism. Authoritarian leftism is communism. And within the context of American politics, which is the context that this discussion is taking place in, because we're being told that the modern right is an extreme and a form of Nazism or fascism, you cannot be both on the right and a Nazi or a fascist, because the very beliefs that would categorize you as right-wing go against the beliefs of Nazism and fascism. You might be right-wing in the sense that you believe in free markets and individual liberties, but holding those beliefs and then also being a racist does not make you a Nazi. It just makes you a racist. In order to be a Nazi, you have to surrender your liberty to the state. Even the neo-Nazis are primarily characterized by their racism and their anti-Semitism, and then when you dig a little bit deeper, turns out...
and they think that the deep state is controlled by... Again, a lot of people are into the Jewish question, which is a bunch of Nazi fuckers. They'll dog whistle things. Oh, it's the deep state. It's the secret cabal organization. Oh, really? Who's in charge? And then they won't say.
They also want to do away with democracy, which ties back to the traditional Nazi disdain for Western democracy, which...
Wait, who wants to do away with democracy? I'd love to hear.
If you're a conservative or a classical liberal, that's going to be a big problem for you. You cannot be both far right and a Nazi because...
You can. The Nazis were.
The beliefs that you hold that would classify you as a right-winger directly contradict the beliefs that would classify you as a Nazi. Their example...
Are you under the impression that right-wing ideology is incredibly internally consistent? Because I have bad news for you.
Of right-wing authoritarianism, George W. Bush, solid example. Oh, W was a great man. You don't have to defend him to me. He's probably got friends working in the DHS or NSA that are listening to this right now. He'll be fine. But the point is that capitalism doesn't guarantee freedom. But everywhere that there is freedom, there is capitalism.
Yikers.
Nazis did not uphold any form of...
Fuck off, Nordic countries. They're still capitalist, but they at least have a huge social safety net. Fuck off, John.
Freedom, be it personal or economic, to use the traditional political spectrum as a metric. Nazism and fascism are substantially closer to communism than they are to any sort of right-wing ideology. And all...
Nope.
Three of them are authoritarian leftist ideologies that have killed tens of millions of people. Hey guys, if you like this video...
Oh boy. I'm done with John Doyle for now. Fuck this dude. That was hard to sit through. This guy's he's not only an idiot, but he's like the worst bad faith actor I've seen in quite a while. Alright, let's see what Elliot Hustle's up to. Meow? You guys hear that? The kitty meowing? Yeah. Heck Off Kami is the name of his show. Stop reading books. Start slaying dragons. Fellas, is it gay to read books?
Elliot, for a few years there, I had been reading lots of books, taking in lots of information, watching videos, and growing my mind. But for the past year or so, I have been in my warrior mode, and I have been out there producing, grinding, and getting shit done. But lately, I've been feeling guilty because I haven't spent much...
Play this clip from Red Dead Redemption 2. Hold on. Kiki.
Just when they needed us, they threw us away like shit on their... Oh, man. Oh, man.
Oh, I played this mission.
Show some respect. I was respected once. I had a profession.
You asked me to get you something.
He's a slave. He was a slave catcher, but obviously the Civil War put him out of business.
The respect accorded to a gentleman.
What about this old crap? Huh?
Things. Don't you understand? Those bastards, they changed everything. I was a good worker. I took pride in my work. They took it away. Pissed on my legacy.
Old man, some jobs ain't for saving. And some legacies,
Oh,
they are for pissing
what
on.
are you doing? That's my history. Ah! Damn you! Damn you!
Have I heard of
I still
Diogenes?
exist.
Nuh-uh.
Oh.
I thought he was gonna kill him.
much time reading and consuming information. How do I balance the two? Yo, Elliot! Well, my friend, as I often allude to, there are two qualities within every human being, but there are also those two qualities in absolutely everything that is embodied.
Baja Blast is a vegan, and she makes this vegan bacon mac and cheese, and it usually smells like death, but this one actually doesn't smell too bad for some reason.
It's because it has, like, Bacos or something in it. It's just, like, a boxed one.
On this planet. There is a yin and then there's a yang. There's a masculine and then there's a feminine. There's a hot and then there's a cold. There's a time for consuming and there's a time for producing.
How does something made of plants smell worse than the inside of an animal? I want to know. Science, answer this question.
Farmers know this. It is the way of the world. They call it the law of the farm. You can't consume when you're trying to produce, and you can't produce when you're trying to consume. You can't reap what you didn't sow, and you can't...
Invader Diz, yo, I have a question about your opinion on trans characters, but I don't know if this is the stream to ask it. Go for it. Ask the question.
So, if you ain't reaping, dun dun dun, right? It balances out. their seasons. And so right now you find yourself in a very masculine, in a very extroverted, in a very hot season of production. You've got your sword in your hand and you're out there getting it and grinding it. You can't at that same time open up and receive information, become receptive to consuming of ideas.
So you can't go work out and then go home and read a book because this guy says not to. He doesn't have any evidence for this. He just feels, you know, you can't insert information into your head after you've expelled a bunch of energy. That doesn't make any sense.
Nothing he says makes sense.
I know.
And downloads of information. In the same way that you can't be a man and a woman at the same exact time.
Can I get an F in chat for all our non-binary friends? This fucking guy.
Do you follow? You are either a producer or you're a consumer in any given moment. And you must pay attention to the rhythm. You must pay attention to the season. And you must honor the season. When you find yourself in that receptive feminine mode, go feminine all the way.
Fellas, reading books is gay, am I right? If you like reading books, that's super feminine. He just said reading books and learning information is very feminine.
But, like, it used to be the opposite.
Yeah, women didn't used to be able to read or write books. Yep.
Meaning that you open yourself up and relax your body so that you can absorb everything. All of the seeds, if you will, that are being...
Not sure if I saw this, but apparently New York City police are pulling protesters aside and questioning them about anti-fascist sentiments and connections to Antifa. Of course they fucking are. Shit's gonna get real bad. Jesus fucking Christ.
Being implanted into you, that are going to impregnate you with brand new ideas and inspiration. It's a very yin season, and it's okay and it's all right. And if you take full advantage of it, you'll be so full, you'll be so pregnant that when it comes time to push that baby out, to go out into the world, to go out there and get it, you are going to have all the energy that you need to be the most creative you that you possibly can. So when you're doing that outreach, when you're doing that warrior work, do it fucking fully, with no regrets and no looking.
Capitalism.
Invader Diz, do you think a cis person can create a trans character, for example, in a tabletop and not be automatically offensive? One of my favorite characters I've ever created is a trans woman, but since I've become more socially aware, I worry that this might be offensive. That's a good question. I'm not going to pretend that I speak for all trans people, because I most certainly do not. All I can say is myself. I guess it depends on how you play it. I don't know. I'm conflicted about this. It'd be like, how do I put this? Imagine I roll a character that's a person of color, and then I go, and they're very stereotypical, for lack of a better word. That would be offensive. But if you're playing a character that brings to light how wrong these stereotypes are, in the sense that, like, maybe that character faces discrimination or has in the past, is that wrong? I don't think so. At the end of the day, it's between you and the people in your group to decide that. I'm not the arbiter of what you can and can't do. If you're asking if it personally offends me, it doesn't offend me. But certainly, let's say there was a trans individual within your group, I don't think that's super cool. It would come off as, like, you know...
Like taking their identity?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's tough. That is tough. But, I don't know. That's between you and the people in your group. I don't know.
Looking back to those feminine days when you were receiving...
And again, yes, it has to do with, like, being respectful about it.
That information and opening yourself up to consumption.
Yeah, Arcane... Arcanus Stamber Blackwell says, watch season 2 of Critical Role. Sam Riegel made a character that was a great metaphor for being trans. Yeah, you'd probably be better off, to be safe, making a character that faces maybe some of the same challenges as someone who is trans in the real world, but isn't directly trans. Like, oh boy, I don't know what an exact example would be. Maybe if there was a species or you homebrewed a species in D&D. Can you guys hear me, or am I muted? They can hear me. Great. So, like, for instance, there's an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation where there's a species that comes to the ship and they have no gender. They're all the same. There isn't gender within their species. And Riker falls in love with one of them. And this individual, who I'll call she, because she identifies as female, even though her species has no gender. So it's like an allegory for being trans without directly being trans. I don't know. I think stuff like that works a little bit better. It puts a little bit of space between you and the real world issue while still talking about it and facing those same issues. So maybe do something like that. I don't know. But again, I'm not personally offended or anything by it. Like, you know, it's just going to depend on the person.
Because if you soft step while you've got that sword in your hand, if you double guess while you're out there getting it and grinding it, you're not going to be satisfied with yourself because of the lukewarm efforts and the lukewarm results associated with only going halfway. Right now, it's not the right time to read books. It's not the right time to consume information. It's not the right time to be a woman. You must be masculine and manly right now. Pick up your sword and go. Go get it until you're
Fuck you, Joan of Arc. Put that sword down and get back in the kitchen.
Done. And when you're done, lay back, open up, and receive. Done.
Yikes. That was a bad one, even for him.
What does he mean by slaying dragons?
Getting stuff done. Because don't you know, only men can accomplish things. Oh... Disney divides the sexes. Disney has been feeding you toxic ideas about men. Oh boy. Oh, look at that. He's got the 13-star flag of the United States. He's got a picture of white Jesus up here. Lovely. Yeah, what's up?
Did you tell Chad about your super cool leggings?
Oh, hold on. I'll show him in a sec. It's almost like watching a parody. Yeah. Baja got me these space leggings. Can you see them? Ah!
I'll let you know. No. Oh, yeah. Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
You can see them a little bit.
Kiss that frog. Turn him into a prince. Our whole culture has been Disneyfied. I think Disney has been the greatest propaganda machine to turn the sexes against one another.
Coming out of the gate strong on this one, Elliot. All right.
Women manipulate men. And
you know that Disney didn't invent the story of, like, the Frog Prince, right? Like, that's an old folk tale that's existed for probably, if not, certainly centuries, if not millennia. I'm actually not sure. Let's take a look. I'm pretty sure it's a Grimm's fairy tale, but it was a folk tale prior to that because Grimm's is a collection of Germanic folk tales. The Frog Prince, or Iron Henry, is a fairy tale best known through the Brothers Grimm written version. Traditionally, it is the first story in the collection. I have a book of Grimm's fairy tales, actually. The story is best known through the Brothers Grimm rendition. The brothers included it in their 1812 edition of Kinder und Hasmenarchen. I butchered that. But there's an older, moralistic version in Grimm's handwritten Olenberg manuscript from the 1810s. Cultural legacy. I'm looking more for, like, the Frog Prince. origin. Like, I'm looking for the oldest. 13th century Germanic. There you go. It's a very old story. Disney did not make that up. And I hate to break this to you too, Elliot. They didn't write Cinderella either. They adapted it. Hold on, Crimson 11 gave me something to look at. I'll look at that in a second. Invader Diz, yeah, I think I might have to make her bisexual because now I feel like I done fucked up. But then that goes further. Is it wrong for a man to male-female characters at all? Because a disproportionately large number of my roleplay characters are female even though I'm a cis man. No, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. For instance, like, the professor that I play in my D&D campaign isn't trans, even though I am. The professor is sort of like Doctor Who in that they change when they die. So I played the professor both as a man and a woman, and while the current professor is a woman, theoretically it's possible next time we roll a new character, if this version of the professor dies, it could be a man again. And that wouldn't bother me. I don't care. It's a roleplay character. So I gotta see what the link is. Aw, 4 officers that killed George Floyd in their new uniforms. Yeah.
Did you hear that they changed his...
second degree now instead of third, yep. It's gonna be harder to prove. Higher burden of proof for... Well, the burden of proof is always theoretically the same in court, but second degree requires... Let me actually look. I know third degree is unintentional murder. Well, let me take a look at second degree murder. Generally defined as intentional murder that lacks premeditation, is intended to only cause bodily harm and demonstrates an extreme indifference to human life. See, I think that falls under the category of what but it's going to be harder to prove.
They have video of him doing it. What do you mean it's going to be hard to prove? I don't understand that.
Because people are stupid, and there's going to be some conservative asshole on that jury that's going to go, well, you can't prove he wanted him to die.
That's right, capitalistic propaganda.
But no matter what, he showed disregard for human life.
I agree. I'm playing devil's advocate because these people exist and they're going to be on the jury. They have to convince that person. Whether I say it or not, it's going to happen. Thank you, Gratitudinous Nonsense, for following.
Men are easily manipulated. So you get a bunch of little girls walking around in princess
I thought about a shapeshifter character that has shifted between playing both genders so many times they essentially become NB. That'd be a cool character. Are we getting more charisma saves tomorrow? Yeah, it looks like we will be.
Down.
Are we getting the campaign IDM again soon? Yeah, once Lockdown's done and we can get back to doing stuff in person.
Kiss a frog. That means the man is an ugly, wet, slimy beast. Not even fit to be a beast, a frog, right? Not even mammal. Fucking frog. And the kiss.
I like his inherent dislike of non-mammals. That's an interesting character trait.
The sweet sugar and spice kiss, caress, and love of a woman will turn him into a prince. I mean, you think a little deeper, it just sounds...
Fun fact, in the original story, it wasn't a kiss. She beat the shit out of the frog, and then when the frog stopped being an asshole, he turned into a human.
Sounds retarded because...
He refused to get off Floyd's neck for 9 minutes, probably trying to cause Floyd pain on purpose. He very much disregarded life. Again, I agree. I absolutely agree. I'm telling you that the jury is going to have at least one asshole who's going to disagree.
How's he going to learn how to be a prince when he was a frog?
And yes, it's going to cause the riots to come back again, as they should, because there's no fucking oversight in this country.
Is the woman going to teach him how to be a prince? You're going to kiss this ugly frog and he's going to become exactly the kind of man you want. I can tell you right now, women don't know what kind of man men got to show them. They're instinctual. It goes by instinct, not logic. But what is that word when you...
Sounds like men should, like, get their shit together then, huh? If they're so irrational, seems like they should try and be better then. Elliot Hustle doesn't have a very high view of men, does he?
You get off track. I digress. I digress quite a bit. So we're going to get back on track here. And I'm going to assert that it's not true. Girls are not sugar and spice and everything nice. They poop, they bleed, they fuck, they stink. They do all the things men do. There are puppy dog tails there as well. So a little bit about my experience growing up with mostly boys. I grew up, the oldest of 3 boys. And my sister was the youngest. And it was tough for her because she grew up around all boys. And she was the youngest girl. And so she's a tough girl. So she was like one of the guys. I think it was challenging for her. But, in the neighborhood, I was the oldest boy, strongest boy. When it was time to pick teams for phys ed, I was always the captain of the football team. So I like to think of myself, especially when I was growing up, as king of the boys. And
I think that explains a lot about his personality, to be honest.
As a result, didn't have much experience with women except for mommy, my auntie, and school teachers. And so the major authority for most men, most American men, most Western men, are not fathers. They're not men. They're mommy and school teachers.
Okay, why are you saying men, but then contrasting it with mommy and school teachers instead of women? Because that sounds like a really weird way to just degrade the people who loved and cared for you as a child. Let me look. What's this from Instagram? Oh, yeah, I saw this earlier when Trump was saying that he was inspecting the bunker instead of, being down there for safety reasons. What a fucking idiot.
Because
he's not even a good liar. That's the thing.
He's just a compulsive liar.
Yeah.
Majority of our time either at home with mommy, all right? And for me, it was my auntie also. Because daddy's at work, or daddy's not in the home, or daddy's in jail, or daddy's not there. People say we live in a patriarchy, but I think it's a matriarchy.
No, it's not.
I'm very convinced we live in a matriarchy. So we've got influence from mommy, and then you go to school, and something like 90% of school teachers are women. So this creates at least a sense in...
Because traditionally, within society, taking care of children, which is part of being a school teacher, was seen as women's work, which is why one of the only jobs women could have for a lot of, let's call it, modern American history, I'm counting from, let's say the 1800s until now, was school teacher. And that continued and continues today, although obviously there are tons of male teachers. Jake has a teaching degree. Still, a lot of our sentiments about teachers are still rooted in that old-fashioned notion that women should take care of children.
In myself growing up, and I recognized it in me, of being addicted to the approval of women at an early age. Because, if they're your authorities, they're going to tell you how to be, and if you're not being that way, then you're a bad boy. And when you got women telling you how to be a good boy, they're using the female measuring stick.
How about you be a decent person despite your gender, regardless of what it is, and the fact that they're women telling you what to do doesn't matter whatsoever. Again, I hate this attitude of, oh, boys will be boys, they need more leeway. No. We traditionally see men, and little boys especially, as misbehaving more as women because of this attitude, because they aren't held to the same standard as little girls. Because little girls are told, no, you can't fight, no, you can't do this, you gotta be prim and proper, and blah, 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 blah. Whereas boys get told, oh, whatever, they're boys will be boys. No. Children will behave in the way you train them to behave, more or less. Don't get me wrong, individuals have their own beliefs and things that they go out and do, but if you continually, through your actions and lack of punishment, allow male children to behave worse on the whole than female children, then they are going to assume that women inherently behave better than men, which is a really, really bad fucking attitude to have. It makes boys think they can get away with more, and you see this reflected in the adult world as well. It's very stupid and very destructive.
They're using what makes a good girl the measuring stick for a boy. In traditions past, I tend to be nostalgic about that. Who knows what the hell happened in the past? But the way it's presented, in traditions in the past, young little boys were groomed, trained and taught how to be men by men. Go figure.
When was this? Women have always been seen, at least in Western society, as more or less the caretakers of children. Men, the fathers, were there to be breadwinners. They weren't hands-on parents. At best, if you're talking about, like, before modern ideas of education, when boys would go to, like, be apprentices for certain services, like if you, like, worked for a blacksmith or a tailor or something and you learned a trade. Is that what you're talking about? Because you're certainly not talking about hands-on parenting.
But we've got the matriarchy and we got the media telling men how to be men, and that's why we're so fucking confused in so many different ways. And a big part of the confusion comes from this needing approval.
Also, you know that Disney is headed by men, right? Disney is not a company full of women making women material. It's a company full of many different people, and the CEO of Disney, I don't know if it's ever been a woman. I know right now it was the guy that just retired, Bob Iger, and then before that it was Michael Eisner. Before that it might have been Roy Disney, and then before that it may have been Walt Disney. I'm really not sure, but none of them have been women. And you're bitching about Disney and the fact that your so-called idea of the matriarchy is making men confused. What are you talking about? Disney is a media empire controlled by men.
Approval from women. It starts with older women, and then it begins to creep into the realm of dating and dealing with young women. And so, just to kind of go along my story a little bit and how I got lost in this regard. I remember, and even well into my adulthood, seeking the validation and approval.
Do I think the child rehoming lady just gave away her kid, or did she kill the kid? The police can't find the kid. Jesus Christ. Is that true? Oh no.
So this is by far the hardest video James and I have ever publicly had to make. But before I get into the video, I did just want to say thank you to how amazing our viewers have been. We have some viewers who have been just like so incredibly kind and respectful of our son's privacy. I just want to say thank you. Like, that really got me through some really hard times, and I just want to say thanks. Like, you have no idea what that means to me, and some of the special messages that you've sent. Like, just thank you from the bottom of my heart.
I can't say enough how hard Micah has tried throughout this entire journey, and the amount of effort she's put into this and helping Huxley as much as she can. So I mean, you guys have been part of this adoption journey even before, you know, we picked up Huxley throughout the whole process. And you know, with international adoption, sometimes there's unknowns and things that are not transparent on files and things like that. And once Huxley came
the likes
home,
dislikes are hidden. Oh wait, no. Well, they are hidden. They're there, but they're hidden. But I'm surprised they kept the comments. Let's take a look at some of these. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm thinking. My heart breaks for that poor boy, poor kiddo. Whatever happened to him, it's not fair to him regardless. Had it been your blood, you wouldn't have given him away to a new mommy that has professional training. Yeah. Fuck this
there was
lady.
a lot more special needs that we weren't aware of and that we were not told. So over the past few
She's a mommy vlogger that deboned her child after a year because they couldn't handle him. Deboned. Oh, dehomed, I assume it's a typo. I was gonna say, how did they debone him? Oh god. Because they couldn't handle him being autistic anymore, even though they knew he was autistic when they adopted him. That's fucking disgusting. Like he's a fucking lapdog she's gonna carry around as a fashion accessory. That's goddamn disgusting. Fuck this lady.
few years, Huxley's been in numerous therapies to try to help him with all of his needs. And over the last year has been a more intense therapy that he's been in to try to help him as much as possible with his severe needs. And for us, it's been really hard hearing from the medical professionals a lot of their feedback and things that have been upsetting, really upsetting for us, because this is not what we've ever wanted to hear. We've never wanted to be in this position, and we've been trying to get his needs met and help him out as much as possible. It's really hard, isn't it? I mean, we truly love him.
Fuck off. I adopted a child and I couldn't deal with it. Fuck you.
There wasn't a minute that I didn't try. Our
child, no matter what their ability is, no matter who they are, their genders, sexual orientation, literally whatever they decide to do with their life, you don't fucking deserve to have a child.
Artist, and I think what Jim's trying to say is that after multiple assessments, after multiple evaluations, numerous medical professionals have felt that he needed a different fit and that his medical needs, he needed more.
We haven't made this video yet.
You have 704,000 subscribers on YouTube. This has 4 million views, although let me look at how her videos regularly get. Her videos are regularly getting over 100,000 views. You can fucking afford to get help for this kid if you need it. As someone who's worked on YouTube for 8 years, does she have a Patreon too? It wouldn't surprise me. I don't know if she does or not. She can fucking afford to get help if she needs extra help with this kid.
Talking about how, so they would put Huxley to bed early so that they could have time with their kids alone.
What the fuck? He's one of their kids.
But they say that he takes up so much time, and so the kids don't get other time. It's like, yeah, you should spend quality time with all of your children, but like specifically separating one of your children.
That's fucking
out.
Disgusting.
And it's like, you could get a nanny. You could get a nanny for each child.
Fucking idiots.
Trying to protect his privacy, his rights, and also just try to not mess up his future that was laid out in front of us. We're trying our best to make sure we don't impact that at all by making this video. And that,
holy shit, she also has a personal channel and he has a channel as a mechanic or something, so they have 3 channels. Yeah, they can afford help if they need it. They just didn't want to deal with this kid. What the fuck? Why would you adopt a kid?
And that's why, like, on Instagram and stuff, I've tried to, like, let you know as little as I could, but I couldn't tell you anymore because I didn't want to mess anything up with what's going on legally. And if I said something, was I going to mess up things for his future? And it's just been a really hard place to be in, like, because you're grieving, I want to share with you guys, like, I know deep down inside that I don't have to say anything, like, I don't have to say this, I don't have to, but I want to, like, I want to tell you, you guys have been there for us for...
Crimson 11 says, also she used Huxley as a prop, Huxley being the child, a prop in multiple ad campaigns on her Insta. She profited off this child she later got tired of dealing with. What? She's fucking awful.
So much, and I want to fill you in on what's going on and what hard, like, do I feel like a failure as a mom? Like, 500%. So when you get, like, insidious, hurtful comments,
like, had a GoFundMe for his adoption costs, but they also had, like, a grant or something that took care of the adoption costs, so they, like, profited off of the money they got that was supposed to go towards his adoption.
Yikes. There it is. Authorities investigating the Huxley Stauffer case say the YouTube famous child is not missing. The Delaware County Sheriff's Office says it is confident that the appropriate process is occurring to place the son of YouTubers Micah and James Stauffer with a new family. Last month was the hardest month I ever had as a mama. Fuck you, lady. And I'm still working through all of it, but instead of leading with my heart, I'm following yours. Authorities are investigating the whereabouts of Huxley Stauffer, the child whose adoptive parents, James and Micah Stauffer, announced last week they had placed him with another family. Last week, the Stauffers made headlines around the world when they revealed on their YouTube channel that Huxley 5 is now living with a new family. The story quickly went viral, with thousands of people seeking answers about where Huxley is now and whom he had been placed with. The Delaware County Sheriff's Office has been working with several other agencies to investigate the case, a spokesperson told BuzzFeed News. While the investigation is ongoing, Tracy Whitted? Tracy Whitted, the office's community and media relations manager, told BuzzFeed News authorities have confirmed Huxley is not missing. That's good, so they at least know where he is. All adoption cases are confidential and must go through a process with specific requirements and safeguards, Whitted said in a statement. In private adoptions, there are the same legal requirements that must be adhered to. These include home studies as well as background checks on the adopting parents. In this case, Whitted said authorities are confident that the appropriate process is occurring. In addition, both parties are being represented by attorneys to ensure full compliance with the court process, she said. Whitted added that the office is continuing to investigate and will include contact with all children to ensure their safety. What is she going to do if one of her biological kids turns out to be autistic? Is she going to put them up for adoption too? What the fuck? The Stauffer family had divulged little about where Huxley currently is living, citing privacy concerns. Didn't have privacy concerns when he was living with you and you were profiting off him, though. Fucking monsters. Lawyers for the couple told BuzzFeed News that the Stauffers had hand-selected a family who was equipped to handle Huxley's needs. They did so, the lawyers said, after consulting multiple professionals in healthcare and educational arenas. They did not return an immediate request for comment from BuzzFeed News about the investigation. Over time, the team of medical professionals advised our clients it might be best for Huxley to be placed with another family. This is devastating news for any parent. Fuck off, the decision was with you in the end. Don't act like it was something that was done to you. You chose to do it. Ugh. However, it is unclear who facilitated the transfer of Huxley to the new family and which, if any, state or adoption agencies were consulted. The Stauffers denied placing Huxley into the state foster care system. Brett Crow, a spokesperson for the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services, referred BuzzFeed News to Franklin County Children's Services when asked if Huxley was currently in Ohio state custody. Val Turner, a spokesperson for that agency, told BuzzFeed News that Huxley was not in its custody. The adoption for the Stauffers family is an international adoption, which does not involve our agency, Turner said, adding, it appears that Micah made arrangements with an individual person versus an agency. The Stauffers did not return a request for comment asking to confirm which adoption agency they used to adopt Huxley from in China in 2017, but Micah had previously stated on her YouTube channel the family used World Association for Parents and Children, or WACAP. WACAP merged with Holt International Children's Services in 2019, and Susan Soonkium Cox, the vice president for policy and external affairs for the organization, told BuzzFeed News the agency could not comment on whether or not it was involved in the Stauffer adoption. However, she said, in a general sense, the way the Stauffers went about this was unusual. Putting it on social media and describing it as, we found another family, well, what does that mean? Cox said. Did they go through an agency? Was there another home study done on the other family? That part is highly unusual. Fuck these guys. Seriously, what the fuck?
It just like really makes it hurt worse. It's not about me at all, but it's just like this journey has been...
Sushi Mom says, as a mom, this pisses me off. As a mom to an autistic child, this enrages me. Did I need breaks? Yeah. Did I feel burnt out? Yeah, but I persevered. I never stopped fighting for her. For more therapy, for school accommodations, for more help. Fuck you, you self-centered bitch. You're not a mom. Nice. Yeah, fuck her.
How are they gonna explain to their other kids that they just, like, sent their brother away?
The last couple months have been, like, the hardest thing I could have ever imagined choosing to do. Because ultimately, after pouring our guts and our heart into this little boy,
The reason why we can't go into detail of what actually transpired is because we're truly going to protect Huxley's privacy and not let people know what happened, everything that went on.
Fuck you.
To make us make this decision or to even come to medical professionals with the need to get more help. Anything that happened in the home that was hard for Hux, that's not fair for me to put out there publicly. That's his privacy. So we're not going to talk about that. That's not appropriate. And that'll never be appropriate. I didn't adopt.
You don't get to decide what's appropriate. You gave away a child you adopted, you awful, awful person.
A little boy to share these things publicly. Every now and then you may have gotten like a teeny struggle or like a hardship when I was trying to be like really raw and real, but
Crimson 11 says, also she posted an adoption Facebook group asking what disabilities are, quote, easier to deal with than most people assume. So she wants to replace him with another child that they can handle, but their audience will think she's a hero for caring for. In conclusion, fuck this lady and her husband. Trying to find the link to screenshots on Reddit. Jesus fucking Christ. What is she a fucking sociopath? How do you behave like this? Her poor other kids who still have to fucking live with her. Can you imagine how awful she must be to all of them?
We haven't...
In chat, Anita Wu said, not just how will they explain to their other kids, but now their kids are probably wondering, will mom and dad send me away too if I'm not good? That's horrifying.
Yeah.
Intentionally, like day one, intentionally, 95% of the struggles we have never publicly aired, ever, with pure intent of respecting his privacy, not to give you a fake facade or to be
Jeffrey Patone says, as a baby on the spectrum, this is really upsetting on so many levels. Yeah.
Of transparency, but to respect our son's privacy, and this is all that we're okay with sharing. The reason we haven't updated you sooner is because the medical professionals, the agencies, multiple people have been allowing for Huxley to spend time with some different people to see and to make the perfect match and fit for his now new forever family.
Is this monetized? I don't know. I have YouTube. Oh well, no, on this account I don't. I'll do it a couple times to see if it's monetized.
And he is thriving. My channel is to be positive and to bring
things that are not transparent on things that
I don't think it's monetized. It may, if it was at first, I'd imagine YouTube's demonetized it by now, because it's like a well-known video at this point.
Welcome to my scientifically informed insider look at mental health topics. If you find this video to be interesting or helpful, please like it and subscribe to my channel. Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question asks if I can analyze the Micah Stouffer situation. So just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. So Micah Stouffer is a 32-year-old YouTube content creator and social influencer.
Oh yeah, I have ad block too. Whoopsie.
Who runs a lifestyle family channel.
I turned the volume down. Hopefully it's quieter.
It seems like she gets help occasionally from her husband, James. She has over 700,000 subscribers on her main YouTube channel. I believe she has some other channels as well. I think her husband, James, has a channel unrelated to what she does there. She has 4 biological children, and she had 1 adopted child from China. His name is Huxley, and at the time of making this video, he is 4.5 years old. Evidently, she adopted him in 2017, but then in 2020, Micah arranged for Huxley to go to another family. Evidently, he has autism spectrum disorder and is nonverbal. He also has other conditions as well. This situation...
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe check that guy out. I'm not going to watch the whole thing because I'm not going to poach... I don't want to poach views from him. But I've watched some of his stuff before, and he just talks about, like, his thoughts from a psychologist perspective.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Monique Christine with 200 bits. I was undiagnosed ASD, and my family constantly tells stories about how difficult I was to raise, but my mom tried so hard to care for me in the ways I needed, even without knowing I was ASD. I love and appreciate her so much. Not everyone is so lucky. Yeah, well, I'm glad your parents, even though it was tough, they did what they had to do, and they supported you. And I'm sure that can be hard as a parent. For instance, I'm not ever going to have kids because I don't want kids. Not only because, how do I put this? I don't want that responsibility for someone, but I know for a fact I couldn't handle taking care of someone with difficulties like that. I just don't have the patience. I don't. Because even, like, kids who are neurotypical, I don't have the patience for. But that's also why I'm choosing not to have kids. The fact that this woman fucking went through the process of adopting a child intentionally and then decided later she can't handle it, fuck her. What the fuck? Ugh.
Of women for no reason, too. It wasn't even like, seeking it for sex. It was like, oh, this is a woman. I ought to be a good boy, or whatever.
Yeah, meanwhile, how many same-sex couples are denied children? Yep.
Man up phrases they use to that, which really mean be a good little girl with a penis. And so looking for validation from women. It's a bad place to be. We'll talk about it why.
Fellas, is it gay to have a mom? Jesus.
School, mother, media. And then I have to share that I became sexual at a very young age, around the age of 13.
Oh, Elliot, that's too young. That's a shame.
And I became addicted to the attention of little girls. Here I am, king of the hill, boys. I dominated on the football field, leader of the boys. But the minute a girl came around, I melted, and I got giddy, and I got weird. I remember myself in like 7th and 8th grade, being head over heels, and like girl after girl after girl. 31 flavors. It was like I had a new crush every week, and I became very ungrounded. I was a kid, I didn't know any better. But not only needing the approval, but also now needing the feels. Ooh, the emotion associated with it, right? Getting boners too as a kid. And so at a very early age, that neediness, it goes from this needing of approval because you want to be a good boy, to this needing of approval for, oh, maybe she'll kiss me, oh, maybe she'll touch me, oh, daydreams, night dreams, fantasies about girls being sugar and spice and all that nice stuff. And so for a lot of young men, and I'm admitting for myself included, especially very early on, when you start becoming sexual.
Hey, boys, is it gay to have fantasies about women?
Of your masculine grounding begins to crumble. And then it goes from needing approval to needing sex. Needing the neediness. Wanting. Sensuality, addiction to sensuality.
Fellas, is it gay to want to have sex with women?
Sensuality.
He's gone full circle.
He's like, your masculinity goes away if you want to have sex with women.
You know what's the straightest thing you can do? Let a guy fuck you in the ass. Because not only are you 100% man, you have 10% extra man inside of you. Oh God, your face. That's why Elliot gets his weekly injections of man meat to make sure he can lift the weights.
I thought that you were going to say something else.
What did you think I was going to say?
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, it's a huge dick. It's 1/10 of his mass. It's ginormous. Obviously letting someone with a small dick fuck you is super gay.
Yeah, it is.
You gotta get the big dick. That's the straight shit right there.
A big issue in our culture. And men, we get trapped because it starts with starts with sex. Right? And if you don't have that self-possession, which I think is super critical for young men to learn, that's why I believe
straight guys are size
not
queens.
a good idea. We'll talk to Rolo. Oh, my guest. I just let the cat out the bag. This is right here. Those of you know, you'll see. He may have some different ideas about that. Of course, other people have different ideas about that. But I don't think promiscuity in young men is a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea to be out there jizzing and juking.
What? Your face is so horrified. Fellas, is it gay to jizz and whatever that other word was? Jukin? I don't know what the fuck that means.
Put your junk inside all these women. Because among other things is easy manipulation. Because what we think is love is lust. And it's very sensual. It's very physical emotion and sensuality. And just like addiction to crack, there's a physical dependence. And so there are all kinds of demons begin to arise, jealousy and fear, these kinds of things. So becoming very sexual at an early age. I'm not going to go too much into my story with my wife, but I am very grateful that I met the woman that I would spend the rest of my life with. At that early age, I became addicted to her.
Wait, is he saying that he had sex with someone at 13 and he's now married to that person? Oh boy.
But then my promiscuity and tendency for promiscuity began to decline.
Oh God, why?
It just happened.
And I no longer was seeking validation or sex from a lot of women because my needs were met.
No.
If it becomes an issue, I'm gonna have to talk about it.
And that's neither here nor there. I'm not advocating for that, but I think there's a lot of benefit in my being with one woman for all these years. Saved me a whole lot of...
I don't believe for a second he hasn't cheated on her. I do not believe it.
Confusion and pain that I see young men going through.
I don't know how, like, if he's saying that he fucked someone at 13 and they've been together since, like, how the hell do you do that?
I don't know.
The person that I dated when I was, like, 13, no, like, you don't know what you're doing, you're a kid.
He hasn't had a lot of personal growth since the age of 13, apparently. Which does not surprise me.
Oh, God. Chat is so vulgar tonight.
Yeah.
I love it.
What's going on, Jillian? This is the new world order. Oh no. Jillian's video. What is genocide really? Jillian.
So I figure I would cover this about genocide because I see a lot of people equating what's going on with this quarantine shutdown virus reaction as a type of genocide because there are similar characteristics
What characteristics of being in lockdown because of a virus are similar to genocide?
Of how the government is reacting to this virus and their measures of protection.
Yikers.
My nose in the morning. I gotta get rid of all the excess mocals. So anyways, hold on. Last night, I was up and down, watching those videos. Oh my god. Holy crap.
Jillian, why are you blowing your nose? Shouldn't all the jelly juice you drink have cured all allergies and illness? Why do you need to blow your nose? Why are you congested? Isn't that a sign that you're on a death trajectory?
Those videos, the live streams.
There's nothing funny about the tools
from
of
all the
capitalism.
different riots, whether it's in my town or in other
Invader
parts
Diz, I haven't
of
heard bits
the
drop in a
United
while,
States,
so
'cause it's the United
plop.
States
Thank
right
you.
now and Rodling, but it's supposed to happen. Okay, I'm not really too upset. I mean, I'm upset. It sucks that people are destroying their towns, but
I gotta find something more jelly juice related.
Those waterfalls. Kiki. Oh, you're such a little goose. Come on.
Hello, Kiki.
Good morning, everybody. So on the heels of my rash, that is finally feeling better. Thank God. I mean, it
Again,
was.
she has a rash in this one. So if you're drinking jelly juice, and jelly juice is supposed to be such a cure for everything that you can regrow limbs, according to her, how is she getting a rash? Does this not make a red flag go up in her head like, I'm taking jelly juice regularly, yet I'm still getting ill occasionally, as all people do?
She's delusional.
It hurt a little bit this morning because it was a little bit itchy. And if you hadn't followed me for a while, I've been dealing with this rash that came up to surface from since I was 6 years old. So when I was 6 years old, I had a rash that came up. I thought it was from a leotard, but it was only in one area in my lymph node area down in the groin area on the right-hand side.
Yeah, she calls them healing
and so
symptoms.
I assumed, because I remember it, that was from a leotard, but we never really got down to what it was. My parents put hydrocortisone cream on it, and then I never saw it again. It never was an issue or a problem. So I thought it was just something that was, a fluke, and then we took care of it with medicine, and then there it goes. But what we've since found out is that hydrocortisone cream actually pushed that toxin that was coming to surface, whatever it was that the body was trying to get rid of. That cortisone cream pushed it back into my system way deep, and then of course over time.
Rashes are not your body trying to expel toxins. Rashes happen for a variety of reasons. Your skin could just be irritated. You could be having a reaction to something. You could have some kind of dermatitis. I don't know. Oh, Kiki, you jumped to the end of the video.
We're at 120.
Thank you. Kiki wants to be done with Jillian.
The body was trying to get rid of, that cortisone cream pushed it back into my system way deep. And then, of course, over time, the body has a superficial immune system, given that we weren't reinforcing it. So it really just made it like I don't know, it put it in dormancy where it wasn't a symptom. And so it started, then I'm sure it probably affected other organs and other systems. And I'm sure it was a factor in a lot of my mutations over time. However, given that I've been doing this protocol, I have been now stimulating the antibodies to then go after all the infection in my body, as well as all the foreign objects, and also rebuilding the broken and damaged cell structures, which meant that that was something that needed to be dealt with. But it's been over 1.5 years, right? And the body finally is now taking care of it. It is now seen it as a priority, because the body, when it's going through these stages that I'm going through right now, as far as the healing stages, it will go based upon priority. So that's why some of you are seeing, healing in one area, and then you're going to another level of healing in another area. And then it just keeps going from there, from there. So anyway, so now I am dealing with a rash that is coming to surface. I did feel fatigued. I found out that it could have been possibly lymphoma. I probably dodged lymphoma, because when I looked up
You ever just look at a rash and you're like, yep, that's lymphoma. I'm not an oncologist. I make shitty fermented cabbage water for a living. But, yeah, lymphoma. How fucking disrespectful to all the people who actually have to struggle through cancer to be like, yeah, I got a rash and I'm like 90% sure it was lymphoma and I totally dodged it with my salty cabbage water. Fucking idiot.
Lymphoma or lymph node rashes. Lymphoma came up. And it came up as a possible situation that I possibly could have dodged.
You know WebMD is not an actual doctor, right? It's a website. You shouldn't just Google symptoms and then self-diagnose.
Okay. And so we didn't know about the hydrocortisone being, using that and then driving the infection back into the system again, until Karen Elfont Skidmore mentioned that, because of her homeopathic somebody that she was following that is in the homeopathic world, mentioned that as a possibility that this most likely what happened is that hydrocortisone drove it back into the system, which then had me then make that leap that essential oils being used on the body in reaction to cancer, disease, and chronic illness will do the exact same thing. Because like we talked about, antibiotics being used internally, not a good thing. That includes essential oils, pills, powder, supplements, and detoxes.
Essential oils are not antibiotics. She has this bad habit. Well, she'll call like anything she doesn't like antibiotics. I don't know why she does this. She just says certain things are antibiotics, like essential oils, which they are not.
Well, essential oils are antibiotics. They are.
No, they're not. What?
Are a high negative force. And so I use patchouli.
Jillian, define a high negative force. Other than the fact that it sounds like a thing to you, what does it mean?
Oil just as a, as like a just
if
a nice
you could
extra...
speak telepathically, but only to your friends, would you be homeopathic? Funny.
Scent, I like to smell good, whatever. I mean, I could definitely go without any oils, and I was.
Oh, she also called crystals antibiotics. I missed that.
Still smell good because I don't have the candida making my body odor smell horrific, right?
Apparently, body odor is also a symptom of candida, which she thinks causes everything from cancer to rashes to whatever.
But I like patchouli oil because it just smells good. However, if you have a rash, let's say you have eczema, psoriasis, and all of that, and let's say you have, we know the whole essential oils market is based upon all of this healing quality, or so they say. They say, oh yeah, take a carrier oil like coconut oil, almond oil, jojoba oil, olive oil, avocado oil, all of those, and then mix it with the essential oils and then use it as a topical. I would say do not do this. Do not use essential oils mixed in with a carrier oil in reaction to any kind of symptom that you're dealing with on a
Oof. Okay. No. Yikers.
topical basis. Because what happens is then you totally, completely,
You have a coworker who takes Jilly Juice and uses patchouli oil instead of deodorant? Yikes. Does she know about the woman who had the stroke because of Jilly Juice? You should let her know. Has she seen that episode of Dr. Phil? Jesus.
destabilize your immune system so that way it doesn't work properly. Because the reason why you're having skin tags, the reason why you're having things come to surface is because the body is trying to filter it out and get it out of your system, so then it finally it gets purged out of the body. And how I see how it gets purged out of the body, because I'm watching my own little rash do what it needs to do, is that it'll come to surface, it'll ooze, because those are the antibodies, right? The white blood cells that are going after that infection. Then it oozes, and of course it's on my underwear,
Thank
right?
you, Agent Blau, for following.
I put it in the wash, and I change my underwear, of course. But the skin that is
the fourth pick is where she. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Oh, someone doesn't know how to screenshot things very well. Look at how blurry that is. Micah Stauffer, China adoption requests. Would love to hear some personal experiences of adopting out of birth order. Good and bad experiences, please. We are praying about an older child right now and really want to educate ourselves on all we need to know. Thank you. We are praying about adopting again, and my husband wanted me to ask what special needs would you consider minor or relatively easy to manage that most people wouldn't consider easy. Fucking yuck. Oh my god. Like, any adoption agency is gonna give another fucking kid to this bitch after she gave her child away. Fuck you, lady.
Yeah, but those are from 2018.
Oh. Jesus.
Then dried on top of it, it's scaly. And that skin falls off. So as the infection comes to surface, it goes through its different stages, and it'll seem like it's healing, and then it's drying over with the scaly skin, and you're peeling the skin off, and then another layer of toxins coming up to be then purged out of the body. That's how the body is able to get rid of toxins, because that layer of skin that the infection is coming through and getting.
That's not how your body gets rid of, quote, toxins. Your internal organs. Which internal organ is the filtery one? The liver? Yeah, your liver filters out shit for your body. It doesn't come out through your skin. It comes out as waste.
Out of the body. So when you take some kind of, natural or herbal antibiotic or a hydrocortisone steroid cream or something, that really just defeats the immune system's purpose to let it work itself out naturally. And then you're driving that infection back in your body. Okay? So now, which I'm going to be doing as soon as I get my manuscript back while it's going through the design phase, I'm going to be eradicating the essential oils out of the topical ways to manage your healing symptoms as you're going through this protocols process. Because I don't want any of you guys to be taking these essential oils and driving your infection back in your body. That would defeat the purpose, and then it undermines your.
When are you going to talk about PewDiePie and Dr. Phil?
Okay. Because I also noticed, like on my dog,
this video title
she has
is a
lot
lie.
more. You are essentially taking care of a symptom. I want people to chill on the private messages. Unless you have a testimony, chill on the private messages. Send me an email if something that you really, if you're not part of my membership group and you just need a question answered as far as, how to get into the group, or you have a testimony, just do it that way, okay? And I see one person that does sell CBD oil come online right now. And I'm going to tell you this. You're selling oils that are antibiotic to your friend.
CBD is not an antibiotic either? She just classifies everything she doesn't like. Everything that's like a another kind of snake oil bullshit that's a potential competition to Jilly Juice, she says is an antibiotic. It's ridiculous.
Friends and family, you are contributing to.
Trying to fix that. It wasn't centered.
Oh. They don't. Only one of them ever is kind of centered at once. They don't. It doesn't work right. Yeah, I know. It annoys the fuck out of me, too. There's a thing on the microphone, because I just have the microphone itself is silver, but I have a rubber cover on top of it. And there are holes here, because the original stand screwed into the sides, not the bottom. And these little covers to cover it, they don't fit exactly, and it's very, very annoying. Look, now it's even more uneven.
To their overall demise. You may have temporarily reversals of your symptoms, but that's no different than chemotherapy and getting somebody, you know, at least a little bit stabilized.
She's not super popular. She definitely has her fans, though. I mean, this is her job. She pays, she has people pay for, like, subscriptions to her website to get, like, specific videos for members and, like, recipes and tips and bullshit, but...
Like a stay of execution. CBD oil, all these different essential oils, when used in reaction to cancer, disease, and chronic illness, gives you a stay of execution, but guess what? You are still going to be on the trajectory of death. Now, as far as Dr. Sebi, he is aging. I think he's dead. Okay, you guys need to get rid of all of your, I mean, here's the thing, everybody in the holistic world has.
Altered Rin says, I know you watch Jeff Holiday, so you probably know about some of the stuff, but Jillian bans anyone who talks about their health problems from Jilly Juice and claims they weren't doing the protocol correctly. She is so slimy and needs to be put in jail, and maybe the nicest officer shouldn't arrest her. I'm not in favor of police brutality regardless of who it is. We have a justice system for a reason. But, yeah, she's full of shit. And she really doesn't like people pointing out how bullshit her system is. I think part of the problem in terms of her not getting arrested is because she doesn't directly sell people Jilly Juice. She sells books and recipes on how to make it. And that creates more legal difficulties in terms of, you know what I mean? It's harder to pin someone for giving someone a recipe and then making it themselves and then putting it in their own bodies. If she was at a farmer's market saying, here's Jilly Juice, it's going to cure everything, that would be a completely different issue, and that would be obviously incredibly illegal. I'm Bibliophile, thank you for following. I do believe the Attorney General of her state did make her stop making certain claims, though. At least on her public Facebook group. I don't know if it's being monitored, her private one, but...
Has some kind of, a little bit of credibility, because they did pave the way to get us to this point where we're getting away from the allopathic, but you have to realize that the holistic world also repackages...
Aren't we all on the trajectory to death from the moment you're born? Well, she thinks Jilly Juice will make you immortal. Literally. I'm not being, like, facetious. She literally thinks it'll make you live forever, so that's what she's saying.
The same negative elements, and they have a different marketing gimmick and a different little package, you know, a different wrapper, but it's the same elements. It's still heavy negative elements that are misaligned with the elemental composition of the human body.
Is she a grifter or a true believer? Oh, she believes this shit. She absolutely believes this shit. Don't get me wrong, I think she thinks she can make a lot of money doing this, but she believes it too.
Because so your body is a positive, right? And all of these CBD oils and essential oils and the supplements and detoxes are all negative elements. And when you're throwing a bunch of negative
for her age because she's fucking dehydrated constantly. She drinks a gallon of salt water a day. That's awful for you. Speaking of salt, delicious legumes,
which is the bentonite clay and the diatomaceous earth. So you're poisoning your body to create an immune response, inducing an immune response where you feel like you're gonna die, right? And yeah, you may be dealing with some issues that are in your body that people call retracing.
The tea blockers I'm on make me crave sodium. Maybe I should try some Jilly Juice.
I'll murder you.
Not if I have a stroke from the Jilly Juice first.
Or Herxheimer or the Heron's Law. But what you do is you're aggravating your injuries that are already in your body. No different than using, taking salt and then you feel like you get high blood pressure. You already have that malfunction in your.
Who's worse, her or the people who drink their own pee? Oh, her for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep. Like, drinking your own pee is gross, but it probably won't, like, harm you. Unless it's, like, all you're drinking. As long as you're continuing to drink water, you're probably fine. She's actively harming people. At least one person has had a confirmed stroke because of drinking the chili juice. Sorry for the nut ASMR.
Your body, and any kind of salt is going to energize your malfunctions. Okay? But the whole thing with the detoxes and all those holistic things is that you may feel temporarily better, like you lifted all the candida, because that happened the same thing with me, with the bentonite clay, which is aluminum silicate, which is a major negative element against my body. I had so much candida in my body causing me to have these PMDD episodes that anything would have been great. It would, if it wasn't bentonite clay, it could have been, a salt flush, or it could have been zeolite, and I would have felt amazing no matter what, because I handled the current problem at hand, which was the candida. But I was not rebuilding my immune system.
You said this video's about PewDiePie and Dr.
But
Phil.
not getting to the root of it and fix. And you see it all the time. Fleas this whole season. But I mean, when you're out there in the
Alright. Smacky mouth noises. The stream. Alright. That's enough chili juice for today. Girl Define, Spirit Science, or Girl Define? Okay.
I love to hate them.
Altered Rin says, I'm pretty sure Jillian has had some micro strokes recently. And to watch a video of hers with the clock in the background, the clock is more confusing than her. Yeah.
Who's tugging at my blanket? Hi, Kiki.
Would you marry your future self?
I already got somebody I'm gonna marry. This one.
Hey, it's Kristen and Bethany here with Girl Define Ministries. And
Should we have affect this attitude for us streams? Hey, Hannah here. We're gonna talk about, chili juice.
Hey, it's Baja Blast. We're here to talk about this great new drink that's gonna make you immortal.
Gonna eat these nuts.
But only if you're married. You can only eat the nuts if you're married.
in today's vlog, we're going to be talking about why Christian girls should be beautiful but not seductive. So the reason that we really wanted to film this video today is because in the past, whenever we've posted blogs or posts on the topic of modesty or maybe true beauty, and we're using our beauty as women to reflect Christ's glory, or even topic
Gotta braid my hair to reflect Christ's glory. Because nothing makes me think about beautiful women more than a 2,000-year-old Middle Eastern man being crucified. Oh. Got some legume stuck in my throat.
topics like modesty, purity, anything along those lines, it seems like it never fails that
Modesty
we always,
is
as we scroll through the
relative.
comments, we always come across a few comments that read something like this.
You might think what you're wearing is modest. People from the Middle East, depending on the country, obviously, let's say Saudi Arabia, they'd think you're dressed like whores. So let's not pretend that there's some objective standard for modesty. What's modest today would not be considered modest for 100 years ago.
If you're gonna hog the nuts over there, I'm gonna hog them this way.
Okay. Save me from my nut fixation.
Christian girls can post whatever images they want if it makes them feel beautiful.
No.
Or being beautiful and seductive are the
No, it's
same
good.
things, and there's nothing wrong with it. So the more we've seen comments, it seems like they're popping up more and more and more and becoming really common. It's just really caused the two of us to take a step back and realize, wow, in this modern day and age, it really does seem like modern Christian girls are merging the terms beautiful and seductive, and to a lot of girls, they think that those things mean the same thing. Now, we believe that there really is a massive difference between the word beautiful and the word seductive, and not just because it's our opinion. We're saying we don't want girls to be seductive, or we don't want girls to be
It's almost like these terms are entirely subjective, and we can come to general conclusions about society as an average, but on an individual basis, doesn't really mean anything outside of the subjective view of the viewer. You ever heard the term beauty is in the eye of the beholder? Jesus.
beautiful. The two of us think beauty is an awesome, wonderful thing, not because we think it, but because of what we see in God's word. And now when we open up the Bible, we see passages like Proverbs 31, Titus 2, or even women that God highly praises, but he says, yes, they were beautiful, but he praises them for their character. And then we see something completely different. If you flip over to chapters like Proverbs 5,
Horse girl
Proverbs
energy.
7, you see women who are very beautiful, but who have taken their beauty and twisted it for something completely different. And the Bible says these women are seductive. Their hearts are full of self-focusedness,
You harlots, how dare you?
trying to draw people to them in a way that is not honoring to me. And so it doesn't say beauty and seductiveness are the exact same thing. It says, yes, there are beautiful women. I created beauty. It can be a great and wonderful thing if used in purity, in holiness for my glory.
Devotion, that's why I attack all the beholders. I want their beauty in their eye stalks.
Seduction,
God is a
drawing
simp.
people's attention to yourself, drawing people's eyes to yourself in a way that is not holy, that is not pure, that is not honoring to Christ, is not a good thing. And we see that very clearly in chapters like Proverbs 5 and Proverbs 7. So we just want to take a few minutes to really break down the difference between the word seduction and the word beauty. We are honestly convinced that the reason so many of us as modern Christian girls are kind of interchanging the words beauty and seduction is because of this modern culture that we live in. And we see, like if you look at stores like Victoria's Secret, Hollister, stores where when you look in their windows, it's very clear that seduction is something that they're kind of using for advertisement.
Or they just want, women like cute bras and panty sets. It doesn't have to be a fucking someone. Single people can buy, cute outfits they like for themselves.
We see those things as Christian girls. I think those things are slowly reshaping our minds and reshaping our thinking to say, oh, that's a beautiful woman. She's dressed very seductively. She's posing very seductively. Oh, but that's what's hot. That's what's in. That's what's sexy. That's what's being praised. So, okay, beauty and seduction must mean the same things. And so without even realizing it, it's not like we're intentionally trying to think this way. We are just kind of being...
The one in the green looks like she's holding in a fart. Jesus was a slut, though, hanging around the boys. Did you see him on that cross?
Being slowly and subtly reshaped by the culture around us to view beauty and seduction as the same things. Yeah, and instead of being...
They can be related, though. And again, what one person finds seductive might not hold true for another. These are subjective.
Shocked and really appalled by the half-naked or even mostly naked women that we're seeing on these billboards and on these posters. Instead, we're thinking, oh my goodness, that's what beautiful is. That's what I need to be. And as Christian girls, we're thinking, okay, I need to mimic this in order to really be beautiful. And so the two of us have honestly, many times in the past, kind of been almost desensitized and almost bought into this mindset, thinking okay, if I want to really be beautiful, if I really want to be accepted by those around me, and praised, then I need to mimic them and I need to to look like them. And sadly, this is not God's best for us as Christian women. He does not want us to be seductive in order to think.
Why are you speaking for God? I don't believe in God. But if I did, I would find it incredibly disrespectful that you think you can speak for him, especially considering the Bible says thou shalt not suffer a woman to teach. Women should remain silent according to the Bible. The fact that these two women have a ministry it's heresy.
You know, if that was true, though, we wouldn't... We shouldn't also be on the internet.
It's okay, according to the Bible, I'm a man because I have a penis, so...
Fuck the Bible.
Yeah.
Think that we're beautiful. We should not interchange those words. We should not look at those, posters and think, oh my goodness, I need to dress half naked, or I need to post these images on social media in order to be beautiful. So in a nutshell, seduction is really just when we as Christian girls dress in a way, act in a way, pose in a way, post pictures in a way that are intentionally designed to draw people's eyes to us and to our bodies rather than using our bodies to reflect people off of us and to give God glory. So now let's talk about the word beauty and really dive into what that means. So first of all, God is the author and designer and creator of all things beautiful. He made women to be very beautiful, and he designed us to carry the mark of his creativity. So there is absolutely nothing wrong with being beautiful. We are all for women being beautiful and embracing our God-given beauty. However, we are all for that, and we see in the Bible that God created us as his beautiful creations, not just for our own glory, not to allure people and draw them to ourselves, but to ultimately reflect back on the beautiful design that God created us to have and use our beauty for his glory. Our outward beauty as Christian girls should never be used in a way to entice, lure in, distract, and seduce or...
Why is it your job to police how you dress and not the job of men to not ogle women? Why is it your job to say, God, the one on the left looks like she just wants to fucking die. Look at her. Jesus.
Arouse the people around us. We need to be careful to not use our beauty in a way that selfishly causes people to give us attention and glorify us rather than glorifying our creator. True beauty really is the farthest thing from hot looks and sensual poses. True beauty really is found in a girl who loves Jesus and is striving to reflect him through her life. Now, I know this can be kind of hard. You're like, okay, how do I do this? What does this exactly look like? So let me read you a few things that might help you understand this on a more like down-to-earth level. True beauty is having fun with pictures, but being wise enough to know where to draw the line. It's wearing fashionable clothing, but knowing what sexual styles to avoid. True beauty is knowing how to wear makeup to enhance your natural beauty, but not going overboard with it.
Fuck you! You think you get to tell people what kind of makeup and how to wear it? Look at the smug look at this one's face too, like, we're the good Christian girls. We're gonna help save all the girls out there from Satan.
But I like Satan.
Yeah. He's a cool dude.
We stan a Satan.
Yeah.
True beauty is caring more about being pure before God than striving for the likes and comments of your friends online. That's a hard one for all of us. True beauty is a desire to use your life and photos to influence others towards Christ and his holiness.
So if you just, let's say you get tattooed on your naked body between your breasts a large cross, can you post Insta pictures of it because it's your tits are drawing people to Christ?
Oh man.
Because that's what I'm hearing.
That is so something that my ex would have done. He would have done it on himself.
Yeah.
He would have had like a cross all over everything.
Yeah. And that fucker was a monster.
Yes, yes he was.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Monique Christine with 200 bits. Satan is my overlord and constant companion. Nice. Andrew Dickerson. Regarding Jesus and sensual poses in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 7, Steel Ball Run, Jesus Christ himself tells the protagonist, Johnny Joestar, to kill the President of the United States. What the fuck? I've heard of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but I have no idea what the fuck it's about, and I have no idea if what you just said is true or not.
And photos to influence others towards Christ and his holiness, not away from it. We hope you can see that beauty and seductiveness are really two totally different things.
I watched the first episode and I thought it had to do with a vampire or something.
Now we get that this is a really big, hard topic, and sometimes, like Bethany said, it's like, how do I actually practically live that out? Girl, we get it. We are all in this together. It really is a daily battle. And with the rise of social media, we feel that temptation too to post pictures in certain ways because you know they're probably going to get more likes. But as Christian girls, we have to remember our ultimate purpose is to not bring glory to ourselves, but ultimately to glorify God. So in this video, we really hope
Let's take a look at their Instagram, shall we? Look at how much arm this harlot is showing. What a whore.
And all that makeup.
I don't want to sign up. Fuck you. Fuck you. Ah. I'm not going to sign up for an Instagram just to look at girl-defined shitty posts.
we don't walk away feeling like we gave you a list of rules, because that's not our intention. Our goal in this video is to simply encourage you as a Christian girl in your walk with God to use your life, your photos, your outward appearance, everything you do to reflect the glory and purity of Christ. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked it, we'd love it if you give us a thumbs up. If you want to see more from us, you can subscribe to our channel below. We post new videos every Wednesday. She got it. She's gonna nail it.
Well, at least they're keeping comments up that disagree with them. That's nice. Spirit science. Probably going to go for another 25 minutes or so. Once we hit the 3-hour mark, I'll call it a day.
Short stream.
3 hours?
You usually do 4.
I do 3.5 to 4.
At the end of Lesson 6, I showed you some really cool geometrically perfect crop circles in the Flower of Life form.
Define geometrically perfect. What the fuck does that mean?
Most people didn't like that, or care. So instead, I offer you this. This intense drawing was done by Leonardo da Vinci, proving that he actually studied the Flower of Life form. In fact, over 200 drawings of his were found, all studying different angles and proportions.
Yeah, he was an artist. Among other things, he was an artist and an engineer. Chat calls for cryptids. Hold on, I'll do a
There's
cryptid
nothing
thing.
funny about the tools of capitalism.
If we are here with 45 bits, I hopped over to a different stream for a bit and magically came back just in time for Spirit Signs. My enlarged third eye must have told me it was time. After this video, we'll do cryptids, I promise. Like the one that someone sent me yesterday. It's over in this other tab. About the... Where is it?
The night crawlers.
Yeah. We'll do the night crawlers after Spirit Signs. Anyway, Leonardo da Vinci did a lot of drawings of a lot of things because it was a thing he liked to do. He was an artist, among many other things.
Complete with descriptions of each one. The editor of the book who published these lost drawings didn't really know
doing
what
a study on shapes, which is
they
the
were.
thing you
So he
can
just
do.
said, this is how he came up with his gear inventions. Leonardo was able to invent such intricate inventions and designs.
Design, not
There's nothing
invent.
funny about the
Invent
tools of
implies he
capitalism.
actually made it. He did not make these things, unless you're counting Assassin's Creed as actual history. Hashtag validated, baby. Invader Diz. Thank you.
It's because he studied divine proportion. Also, Leonardo was a master mason,
Okay,
and it's
but
clear that he
also,
most
well,
likely came
some
up
of
with
his
gear
designs
inventions.
are a little
Leonardo was
similar
able to invent
to things we ended up
such intricate
actually doing
inventions and
later,
designs
like,
because
for
he's-
instance, the flying machines. Like, they weren't right. You get that, right? They're cool, but this would never be able to fly Nor would this, because it involved a flapping motion and not gliding.
Studied divine proportion. Also, Leonardo was a master mason, and it's clear that he most likely got his original knowledge from them. Is the Flower of Life, among other things, the secret information that the Masons have been keeping secret for the last 1,000 years?
The Freemasons do not have any secrets. At this point, it's a stupid club, and back in the day, it was literally a guild for Masons. Like a union, basically.
Today, I was going to look at spirals and sequences found all throughout the universe, which is pretty important, but at the last minute I decided to change it because I want to show you something else. Now, in the comments or end credits, depending on where you're watching this, I posted links to a TED Talks video by Garrett Lacey, a particle physicist who tells us of an amazing discovery in the scientific field. I want to show you and talk about his findings, and then we'll look at dimensions after that. Okay, so Garrett has discovered that by examining coral, they found that each coral head has thousands of different polyps.
The tank he designed is also literally broken because of the way the handles are on there. Yeah, I'm not familiar with his designs overtly. I just know that some of them clearly wouldn't work.
These polyps are constantly budding and branching into genetically identical neighbors. Through performing heat experiments on these polyps, they were able to find that every single polyp is part of a whole, a single unit of being, but each one is experiencing its own reality individually. From their findings with the coral, they were able to look
What do you mean by experiencing its own reality individually? It's coral. What?
Mechanics. See, the mathematics of quantum mechanics shows us exactly how our universe works, and we see that everything in the reality is just continually branching into new possibilities, just like the coral.
In what way? In what way?
As humans, we are individually experiencing only one of these possibilities, much like the individual polyps. What physics is telling us is that everything comes down to geometry and the interactions between elementary particles. Things can happen only when things are perfectly balanced. So Garrett starts showing us some subatomic particles and the things that make up electrons and protons and neutrons. We always consider these to be the smallest particle, but we never think about what's creating them.
Okay, but we do because we know about quarks now. And I'm actually not sure. Do we know if there's something smaller than quarks at this point?
I think there are, but I don't remember.
So we don't know? Okay. So at this point we don't know, but presumably quarks are also made up of something.
It demonstrates to us how the particles that create point particles really work. He shows that when you plot them out in how they move, this is what they look like. At the tiniest scales of the universe in how it works is very beautiful. Now, look at this. This is one of the ways that these charges branch off from each other. As you can see, it flows in a hexagonal pattern, the same pattern that we found in the expanded Flower of Life.
Just because this specific illustration shows it this way does not mean it is exactly an octagon at all times. I'm not a physicist. I don't know what I'm looking at here, but I do know that typically when you take a picture of something like this or make an illustration, it's usually a simplified way of looking at it. It'd be like looking at, I don't know, one of those pictures of an atom where all the things are really close together and be like, that's exactly what an atom looks like. Not really.
I don't know what this is supposed to be of. What is that supposed to be of?
Quarks and how they...
See, like, an atom, basically, there are many ways to, like, depict an atom. The one that's, you know, closest to the truth is the, like, electron cloud, where it's, like, instead of individual electrons that you can see, you just know that there's a cloud.
Yeah.
Because you can never pinpoint exactly where an electron would be within an atom.
Because of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle?
I don't know. But it's just basically like, you know, if you measure it, it's already moved somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Heisenberg's uncertainty principle.
Then, if you rotate this pattern in 6-dimensional charge space, you see it forms yet another pattern. Many of you will recognize this as the shape of the Star of David, but
yeah, that's not a stretch.
Its true name is the star tetrahedron, which maps perfectly over the fruit of life. This entire pattern created by the particles is mapped across over precise places on a 200-dimensional spherical shape scientists have called E8, of which also has a geometric shape. By rotating that shape as well, you can see how there are nearly infinite possibilities as to how these elementary particles interact with each other. The details of the reality begin to take form. Now, as this shape is rotating in 8 dimensions, you can see a myriad of different patterns here. Look at this one in particular. This looks a lot like Metatron's cube, doesn't it? At the heart of particle physics is pure, beautiful geometry. By now, you probably can begin to see where sacred geometry falls into this. Where do these shapes originate? Do they just come into being at random? Or does the first shape come...
It's almost like when we think about shapes and the way that we look at geometry, it's like we're trying to... Mimic reality as opposed to imposing our own will upon it. Weird!
...come from somewhere else. In Lesson 6, we talked about the Flower of Life, the original, perfect geometric symmetry that created the universe. This shape, as we learned, is not only the root of all mathematical proportion, light, the Platonic solids, but is also the source of every musical system in the universe, including systems both used and unknown to modern man. It is also the source of energy patterns and, well, everything. It all comes from the Flower of Life. I believe this is what is at the heart of what's forming every subatomic particle formation, and it probably goes at least a few levels deeper than what Garrett is showing us. Now we can start talking about dimensions. These wheels are some of the oldest symbols known. The only places that they've been found is on the ceilings of certain very old Egyptian tombs.
This poor guy
They are
is
always
so delusional.
It's all the drugs. Legit, that office must be at least a third of them every day must be high. And it just switches who's high every day.
found in sets of 4 or 8, and nobody knows what they are. Even the most famous Egyptologists have no idea, but this is actually proof that the Egyptians not only understood the Flower of Life, but they lived it.
His definition of proof is very loose.
Today, I'm going to show you what these wheels meant, and in future lessons, we will go over the details of this unraveling. There's a lot to cover before we get there, though. For the record, the unraveling looks like this. Yeah, it's a doozy. So on the walls with these wheels are drawings of 7 people with
They're probably just drawings of wheels. So they're like, look, we have wheels!
Animal heads. They're called kneaders, and each of them has an orangish-red oval above its head. This is called the egg of metamorphosis. The kneaders are showing us a time when we go through a certain stage of resurrection, which is a rapid biological change into a different life form. Not the average type of resurrection.
Does spirit science not know what pareidolia is? Which is where you pick up shapes and like faces and things that don't actually have them because we recognize patterns as humans.
I know. As you can see here, they're changing directions 90 degrees, and in doing so, they're changing dimensions. See, the dimensional levels are separated by 90 degrees. Musical notes are separated by 90 degrees. The chakras are also 90 degrees. It's a number that continually appears. Probably at this point we should get
Probably because it's very satisfying when 2 lines directly intersect exactly perpendicularly.
A common understanding of what dimensions are, like 3rd dimension, 4th dimension, 5th dimension. What are we talking about here? Most people think of dimension in terms of time and space, the X, Y, and Z axis, with time becoming the 4th dimension. This is not what we are talking about. What we're seeing as the various dimensional levels has more to do with music and harmonics than anything else. A piano has 8 white keys from C to C, which is the familiar octave, and in between there are 5 black keys. Together this creates what is called the chromatic scale, which is 13 notes, well actually 12, with the 13th being the first in the next octave. So from one C to the next is really 13 steps, not 8. This also correlates with the 7, 8, and 13 chakra system I mentioned in lesson 2. Keeping that in mind, I want to show you a sine wave. Sine waves correspond with light and the electromagnetic spectrum and the vibration of sound. We're all very familiar with this. In this entire reality we're in, every single thing is based on sine waves. There are no exceptions to this except for maybe spirit and void. Quantum physics and quantum mechanics looks at everything in the reality of one of 2 ways. You can look at anything, like the computer you're watching this video on, to be made up of tiny particles like atoms. Or you can forget about that idea completely and look at it as a vibration, a waveform, such as electromagnetic fields or even sound. If you look at it as atoms, the laws can be seen to fit that model. But if you look at it as waveforms, the laws can be seen to fit that model. Both of these systems come out of the Flower of Life, one being the one we just looked at, Fruit of Life to Metatron's cube and beyond, and the other being this beautiful mess of a picture. Just looking at it hurts my head. Everything in this world is a waveform, or can be seen as sound. All things, your bodies, planets, absolutely everything.
Source! God, these videos are exhausting.
Our waveform. If you choose this particular way of looking at reality, and then superimpose that view over the reality of the harmonics of music, we can begin to talk about dimensions. The dimensional levels are nothing but different base rate wavelengths. The only difference between this dimension and any other is the length of its basic waveform. It's just like a radio set. Turn the dial, you pick up a wavelength. It's the same with dimensions. If you were to change the wavelength of your consciousness, and in doing so change all of your body patterns to a wavelength different from this universe, you would literally disappear out of this world and reappear in the one you were tuned in.
That's literally how the Flash works. When the Flash travels to other dimensions, that's how he gets there. The Flash from DC Comics.
It's been theorized that the base rate wavelength that we're currently living in is 7.23 centimeters. There's a few reasons for this. In a spiritual sense, the 7.23 wavelength is Om, the Hindu sound of the universe. Maybe that's why Oming is such a powerful tool in meditation. Not only that, but if you were to take 100 people and measure the distance between their eyes, the average length is
That's how we... Obviously, it's the distance between... average distance between eyes. That's how you know the wavelength. That's how it works. Why would the eye distance have anything to do with the wavelength at which we vibrate? Whatever
Eyes are the window to the soul.
Whatever the fuck that means. Oh my god.
7.23. Same with the distance from the tip of our chins to the tip of our noses, and the distance across our palms and between our chakras. This 7.23 length is located throughout our bodies in various ways because we are emerged within this particular dimension. There's another reason as well. Bell Laboratories found this wavelength when they were setting up the microwave system around the United States. They found static in their system because they chose a wavelength just slightly longer than 7.23 for their system.
I like that this one isn't even exactly the right wavelength, but he's like, that's pretty close. We should put it in there anyway. And we'll just say, because it's close.
In order to get rid of this static, they did something that we as a planet are still suffering from. They upped the power 50,000 times over what we would normally need, which created a very powerful field, so that the 7.23 wavelength would not interfere. It's for those reasons that I believe 7.23 is the wavelength of our dimension. As you go up in dimensional levels, the wavelength gets shorter and shorter.
Source!
With higher and higher energy. As you go down in levels, the wavelength gets longer and longer, with lower and lower energy, more and more dense. Just as with a piano, there's a space between the notes, so that when you hit one note, there's a very definite place where the next note is. In this waveform universe we exist in, there's a very definite place where the next dimensional level exists. It's specific wavelength relative to this one. Most cultures in the cosmos have a basic understanding of this, and understand how to change between dimensions.
Source? On what are you basing this claim? What? This is because Thoth said it, right? The guy who claims he's a reincarnation of Thoth? Jesus.
However, because of certain events that happened on Earth 13,000 years ago, we have all forgotten, but we're about to remember. So if we show each note in the chromatic scale as a circle, we have 13 circles. Each circle represents a white or black key, and the shaded circle at the end would be the 13th note, that begins the next octave. This circle here represents the third dimension. This is where we are, and this circle next to it would be the fourth. In Lesson 3, we talked about channeling, and this is typically where channeled beings are. This is also where you explore when you are astral projecting or lucid dreaming. You'll notice now that the musical system goes upwards and downwards forever. Octaves over octaves over octaves. Theoretically, this is how the universe goes too. An infinite spectrum of universes in both directions going upwards and downwards forever. I mean, come on. We thought our universe was big, but everything in our universe, as far as we can see, well, that's just this one dimension. You may have heard people talk about 144 dimensions and how 144 relates to other spiritual subjects. This is because there are 12 notes in an octave and 12 overtones between each note. 12 times 12 equals 144 dimensional levels. To be specific, there are 12 major dimensions and 132 minor dimensions within each octave.
What would that even mean? What's the difference between a major dimension and a minor dimension?
Though in truth, this progression probably goes on forever. The diagram we've been looking at represents one octave. The 13th note repeats, and then there's another octave after that. Looks like I'm about done for the day. I want to show you this. I was watching Ancient Aliens not long ago.
If you're using Ancient Aliens for a source, I really don't know what to tell you.
And one of the natives who has communication with beings in higher dimensions told the man who was interviewing him,
who claims to have communication with beings from higher dimensions, who claims is very important to put at the front of that sentence.
That they have always been here, even right here where we're sitting right now, but you just don't see them. They're in a different frequency.
And no one really got what he meant. So that's kind of a fresh perspective on that.
Okay, let's see the frickin' night crawlers. Ugh.
The world can be a strange and frightening place, full of many horrible and horrifying creatures. But, as is with all dark subject matter, there is an undeniable morbid curiosity regarding just such creatures. Today, we're going to crack open a cryptid case study and take a closer look at one of these entities.
Probably. I'm probably going to be done with the stream after this video, just for the record. And of course, just as HHHHHH9998 gets here. Sorry.
When examining cryptids,
I'm not going toxic. It's almost 3 a.m. and I'm going to bed soon. Can we not watch this? We have to watch this, goddammit.
oftentimes people will refer to their origins as otherworldly. But when it comes to night crawlers, many believe it to be straight up extraterrestrial. Also known as the Fresno aliens or Fresno night crawlers, these creatures were famously spotted in Fresno, California. Since the initial sightings, night crawlers have also been spotted in Yosemite National Park. Many other sightings in various locations have also been reported, but so far the strongest video evidence is linked to those first two locations.
If we don't watch this, the night crawlers win. It looks like little pants. Yes, it does.
When it comes to appearance, these creatures are really quite peculiar. Based on video evidence, they don't really appear to be all that large, possibly around 4 feet tall, give or take. They appear a bit frail, like just a pair of long, skinny legs attached to a small head. They are white in color and look as though they may be wearing a white gown or cloak of some sort, as the movements of their legs catch a bit in the air like fabric. They do not appear to have any arms, and other than their eerie movement, they do not inherently appear to be of a threat. Despite video footage, not a lot is actually known about this cryptid. They appear to come out at night and slowly drift in a set direction. Whether they are just wandering or actually aiming for something is unknown. Though the footage of them is a bit unnerving, in general, night crawlers have not been deemed as a threat like
There's
other
nothing funny
cryptids.
about the tools of
Since their
capitalism.
captured sightings, nothing bad has happened. There are no
Bits
reported
for the
attacks,
Wiggly Boys.
and no one
Thanks
has
and favor
claimed to be
discs.
hurt by these creatures. As such, the night crawlers have been deemed as peaceful in nature. There have been
It's kind of hard to be non-peaceful when you don't exist.
many suggestions as to what these creatures might be. Some say they are simply another undiscovered cryptid. Others say they are aliens. More say they are not alien, but spiritual and paranormal in nature. Then there are those who claim them to be the results of strange mutations. Also, there are those who think they are a strange and undiscovered form of fungus. And of course, there are those who firmly believe that the creatures are nothing more than an elaborate hoax of puppetry. Some Native Americans of the surrounding areas in Fresno have an interesting explanation for these creatures in particular. They say that these creatures are not a new discovery. In fact, they have been on this planet for a great length of time. They say that these strange beings are indeed of an extraterrestrial nature, and originally came from a planet that consisted mostly of swampland, thus explaining why they choose to appear in areas consisting of such landscapes. Apparently their long legs are supposed to help them maneuver through boggy terrain with ease. To those Native Americans who believe this, the creatures are actually here for a reason. It said that they are meant to assist mankind in an awakening. That is to say, to help rebuild the connection between man and nature that has been broken and neglected for so long. They see our suffering world and want to help us find peace and harmony with our planet once again. That being said, not all local Native Americans actually believe this. There are many that also believe the creatures to be either unexplained or to simply not exist at all. Having now shared all current information on the creatures with you, I will share some of the captured video evidence. This first clip was captured in Fresno, California in the 19...
Governor Jay Inslee says he has faith that the local police departments will conduct investigation into complaints of alleged excessive force during recent... Fuck that shit. Yo, we've investigated ourselves and we found no wrongdoing. Oversight committees, people. We need independent oversight committees.
90s. It was recorded on a home security camera capturing the front yard of a Fresno home at approximately 1 o'clock in the morning.
Los Angeles just announced it's cutting the police department budget by $150 million and making a handful of changes to police officer training, putting in place a policy requiring officers to intervene when another officer is using excessive force, and creating a department outside the police force to conduct investigations on police officers from now on. Good. Fuck yeah. Every police department in this country needs to do that shit.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Invader Diz, look at them go. I'm so proud of my leggy boys.
This next clip was captured by a retired couple's security system. They were having trouble with people trespassing onto their private property overlooking Yosemite National Park, so they set up security cameras as a precaution. Instead of trespassers, they caught these strange creatures.
So people dressed up.
Yeah.
And also trespassers.
I get it, though. It looks incredibly unsettling.
Yeah, it does.
Ooh.
So, what do you think of the Fresno Nightcrawlers?
I think it's people faking it for publicity.
100%.
It's creepy, though. It's well done, whoever did it.
Unexplained cryptid? Ghostly manifestation? Visitor?
What?
They look like they've been victims of a terrible laundry incident.
Times recordings with a camera.
I just want the footage. I don't need...
It's gotta be... It's like people wearing
Yeah.
suits.
Haunted pants? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Of course, it's never caught on HD footage. It's always grainy bullshit. I assume this first one is a weird optical illusion caused by the camera for some reason, because it's obviously really shitty quality.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone saw this and went, oh, we should fake one of these.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Zooming in doesn't help, guys. The resolution remains the same. Alright. Well, that's it for today. Thank you, everyone, for all the hats you made me wear. Thank you all for coming and hanging out with us. I'll be back maybe tomorrow. I have D&D later in the day, so I'm not sure how much time I'll have. But hopefully I'll be able to get a chance to do it tomorrow. If not, I'll be back the next day for sure. So I hope y'all have a good evening. I hope y'all stay safe wherever you are. And don't let haunted pants get the better of you, okay?
Love you all. Have a good night.